This is Westphalen by night. Westphalen is a city that straddles the Pamlico, better known locally as the Tar, like a drunkard trying to maintain its upright position. Working against the equilibrium of the city are the vast quantity of kindred who stalk the night. Adding to its rampant crime is disappearing persons and its seedy underbelly, which the locals take great pride in. Westphalen is a city that does. What it does is no one's business. After all, no one hangs out their laundry for the neighbors to see. But in this particular city, in this particular place, in the Duncern County region of North Carolina, what happens in the dark, well, if you're lucky, stays there. And so we'll tell a vampire tale with the kindred of Westphalen.
It's an important thing for me, and it is one of the hobbies that I actually enjoy. It's one of the few things that is much like a good old friend, has been around through highs, lows, and all the many permutations therein. There's no way to not accept that there is a natural darkness to the world and to every facet of the character. It's easy to ignore just how traumatic the kindred's lives are. They do everything they can to seem human, but it's an alien's idea of being, in fact, human. It's the fantasy of being human is dreamed by something that is so far disconnected that there actually is no balance between the two. The human ideal is held as a holy standard. There are entire churches and cults based on being the best version of your idea of human as you can be, while ignoring all of the foibles, the failings, and the inherent confusion of being human. The kindred gathered here tonight, Tyler, Aaron, Nathaniel, Cecilia, and Beatrice, are not immune to that. Westphalen itself is not immune to that dissonance of thought. It heralds those who try hard and do good, all the while raising, promoting, and otherwise benefiting those who choose the simplest, most direct, most evil option. Savine, as a prince, is the very definition of evil. The sheriff, each of those who have come before the now, have embraced and been very much a facet of what kindred unchecked could do. The old adage that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They embodied it, they lived it. Elijah's sire, Elijah himself, hell, even the vast bulk and majority of those who believe themselves hero amongst the anarchs are in fact duplicitous, craving cowards who push their ideals to the absence of all reason. The night has been filled with dangers, chases, murders, and all manner of violence. But due to some paroxysm of fate, through some chaotic jumbling of the potential multiversal leanings, we find ourselves at Speakless. It is a institution amongst the criminal communities of Westphalen. It is also one of the most secure locations for kindred to be kindred. It is the cantina from Star Wars. It is the 10 Forward of Star Trek. It is an island of misfit toys. And like all things broken, craving the idea of empirical freedom and escape from responsibility, it resides in the literal. So just as a way to check the touch base, to draw these kindred together. Why would you be seeking an asylum away from what you know and what you have previously thought is safe, considering your evening thus far? We'll start in alphabetical order. So, Beatrice, you are in fact up first. Why would you seek asylum after everything that you've experienced, after all the car chases, after the threat to your coterie, and the realities that you found out over the course of the evening? Why would you seek security?
Seek asylum at sorry, I didn't get the really real first part. We're at Elysium, or
it's a sort of Elysium. It is a place outside of the normal path and flow, the ebb and waning of kindred society. It is a place where you can be as you need to be, provided you being you does not impugn anyone else's being themselves.
Yeah, well, I guess with all the stress, going up to a rank of hound and the threat on Nathaniel's life and the activity on the last night, seeing the people that failed being killed outright in front of everybody, I guess she just wanted a moment of peace and maybe have a break and flee that danger for a little while.
Excellent. So seeking some bit of, it definitely does. Seeking some bit of solace is very much not only a human thing, but animals do it, kindred do it, even other things that go bump in the night, other blank bodies as far as the hunters are concerned do it. There is a moment, a need, a respite, a want of a safe exhalation of breath, a time to gather yourself. And that's why Beatrice finds themselves at Speakless. And speaking of a breath of respite, Cecilia, much the same question. Knowing what Speakless is, knowing where it is, knowing that it offers a bit of solace and security and asylum from the storm, why is Cecilia at Speakless this evening?
Being new to the domain, and kind of having come from a day that was pretty hectic in of itself, she's not too worried about exiting a comfort zone to try and feel things out. Now, obviously, this is a kind of Elysium, so it's a sort of a comfort zone itself, but it's new territory for her. This whole domain is, so she's still kind of getting a whole hang of how this place works, and going here is just another step in that process. Maybe it will go poorly, maybe it won't. She could just stick to the sewers like a good Nos and not cause anyone any problems, or but that's not ambitious, and she generally just is, despite being a fledgling, because if she wasn't, well, then she would kind of just fade into obscurity, and she really can't stand that thought of just not being something to someone, especially herself.
Okay.
It's kind of a bit disconnected from just going somewhere one night, but it's, like maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's something else to know about it. Maybe it's important. Or will be important down the line.
Well, that's the funny thing. Everyone believes that opportunity knocks but once, but that is not in fact the case. And opportunity is always there, scratching at the door, knocking for it. Entrance. All it takes is the bravery and the boldness to seize that opportunity, and it requires putting yourself in a different situation. Nothing and no one can grow in security, not in truth. You have to take that risk, you have to take that chance. And speaking of that risk and that chance, Aaron, after a lifetime plus several hundred others of violence and death, tonight has not been an easy one. It has been a storm of all manner of emotions. It's been a storm of all manner of effects. It has been a very long night, and it's not over yet. When alighting at Speakless, what has brought the fox forward into the evening to find a bit of solace here at Speakless?
Well, Erin, after her whole mental and emotional breakdown, just how she came to describe it for herself at least. And after having some sense knocked into her by Lupin, she's still in too much turmoil to just go home, especially after worrying Lupin. So she's strolling around the Anarch area of town to try and clear her head a little bit better, and herself, because she is still covered in blood, smelling like gasoline and burned meat. So he has gotten like pieces of like paper and stain from just trashes around and cleaned like the gross bigger part of the blood out of herself. She is I need to roll for it. She's gonna activate an unseen passage, and she's just gonna sneak into a bathroom. Probably on her way, she stole some random clothes to try and just change and not be clearly a murderer walking into a club. But yeah, she probably stole some clothes on like someone's backyard on the way, and she's looking just for a bathroom where she can finish cleaning up a little bit and change clothes and just try to sort her thoughts a bit away from home and away from the coterie. That's literally her reasoning for coming in here. I'll roll for the unseen passage. Would you like me to roll for anything else?
No, that's a great start into what we have ahead of us. We'll circle around on that thing in a hot second. And much the same with Nathaniel. It has been a rough night. It has been a very eventful moment. There have been the extinguishing of forever. Now, all death carries its own weight. All loss of existence has a balance and a debt that everyone pays who witnesses it. But knowing that two beings who held the promise of forever were snuffed out in such a visceral moment, and yet that there are people, living entities, who willingly, bravely, and oh so foolishly rush into the night, chasing monsters. What does that bring Nathaniel? How does he find himself in the sanctuary, in the asylum, in the peace, as raucous as it is, that is Speakless?
Well, yeah, as you said, Nathaniel had a very rough night, and his I don't know what to call it. Well, Kira's in her paranoia right now, so she needs to be alone, and Elysium is clearly not a place where he wants to be right now, so he took a little drive and decided to he ended up at Speakless to spend a little time while the warlock is simmering a little bit at home, and he's washing off the feelings of everything that happened so far in the night.
Excellent. So, as the consummate politician, as the consummate businessman, which is all politics actually is, it is the business of discussing and determining the usage of power. Nathaniel has decided that he needs some space and some time to very much do that, to mentally handle the debits in his account for the evening, those things that need to be addressed, those things that need to be paid, those things that need to be accounted for, and how best to go about doing so in the most profitable to him manner possible. Finding himself at Speakless is a rarity, but as it is in fact a place where one can disappear into the night, be a faceless member of the crowd, it calls with its siren song of safety and security. And speaking of safety and security, having come face to face and had for lack of a better word, a mother, father, parent, child moment with Ingrid, it was, without beating the horse overly much, it is very much like having that first beer with your child once they're of legal majority. They're able to vote, they're able to drink, and you've shared something that, well, despite all of the other connotations of the family as it is, was fairly enjoyable, fairly easy. And that's the part that's a little scary. The easy thing is the violence. How does that bring Tyler to speak less?
Well, that's the thing. As you said, the easy thing is the violence. It's when you have you're alone, your thoughts, and you're watching yourself in the mirror. That it becomes a problem. Last night, Tyler crushed a man's head with a cinder block. Tonight, he broke a man's arm. But that's not really what weighs on him. He has spent 30 years in darkness. His own life, honestly, has been hell, with fleeting moment of light and happiness thrown in from time to time. You know, you take the good when it comes. Until he met Erin. She's the one who made it all worthwhile. She made it all have a meaning. And now, his peace has latched onto another. And he hates himself for it. He doesn't love that other. He has no sympathy for her. He doesn't really care about her. But he wants her. So he kind of needs to get away from it all, away from himself. He needs to find his center again. Maybe get in a fight, feel the pain in your knuckle as you punch somebody. Because the fight he got in earlier ends up way too quickly. He didn't even get, hit back. No pain, no punishment, no redemption. So why not a bar? Why not?
That is in fact very apropos. Speak Less is one of the rarities in a city in the metropolitan area, because in truth, calling Westphalen simply a city doesn't quite do it justice. It has been a pirate haven. It has been the site of countless battles, actual warfare. It has been the home of a plethora of necropolises throughout the Shadowlands. It has been, and therein lies the dilemma, because what has been typically will be. There's a quantum ideal at work on several different layers. It has been the sign and state of death for all manner of beings at one point or another. From the pirates who revolted against Blackbeard, to the pirates who had swam the channel far in advance of Blackbeard, losing their ships, losing their lives, losing their crew, to the locals, to the indigenous population, to all of the manner of wars fought over property. Whether that property were living, breathing humans, or that property was the idea that there were gold hidden beneath their ground, beneath their feet. It is, and always has been, a place where what you have is only yours so long as you hold it. And is a place where losing oneself is far easier than holding on to your ideals. And amidst all of that wavering, chaotic, kaleidoscopic, frenetic energy, places like Speak Less that have an institution behind them, who have a tradition behind them, who manage to outlast and outlive all of that chaos, is extraordinarily rare. Some people would say that it was cursed. Some people would say that it was cursed and that it was blessed, and that it was looked upon by the gods above, and so forth and so on. But the truth of the matter is, Even for those who do wrong, there is a level that they sink to, or in many cases, rise to. And Speakless manages to hold its bounds because all are accepted. In that acceptance, that means that not just people from Westphalen, not just kindred from Westphalen, not just criminals from Westphalen, but as far east as Pamlico Sound, as far east as Oriental or Swan Quarter, homes to various other pirates and privateers throughout the area. Westphalen counts itself as lucky as being a capital city of sorts. And it is, because there are far worse things. If it was Gotham, then Oriental and Swan Quarter would be Bloodhaven, and worse. And as you all, through various means and various reasons, find yourself at Speakless, it is clear that tonight is the night, as they say. There are other forces present, other people gathering. And those of you with a streetwise of 2 or more and an intelligence of 2 or more will not have to roll. However, if you have an intelligence at 1 or 2 and a streetwise at 1, please roll your intelligence and streetwise with a DC of 2.
Is it and or?
And or if you have a total of less than 4.
Okay, so if I have
I
intelligence
have
street,
4.
no streetwise, I have to roll, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I have 4 counting both streetwise and intelligence. Do I need to roll?
No.
2 streetwise, 2 intelligence.
I think we're good. 2-2.
Nope, you guys are perfectly fine. We will get there.
Oh.
I think I will actually need to.
You're the one
roll.
success.
Am I rolling with it? Am I rolling with it?
Yes.
I'm rolling with it?
If you have less than 4, if you are at 3 or 2 total for your intelligence and streetwise, you will be rolled.
I'm saying,
she's-
am I rolling, keeping...
She got a messy crit.
Oh yeah, it is entirely up to you. But my suggestion is, messy criticals are fun.
I just saw. Okay.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
That's a great way to start the game, especially since you're milking.
That's
Question.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
High five, Beatrice.
I was
High five.
just not expecting this tonight. I brought my wrong computer. My sheet is not present on this new computer.
Okay.
Tyler,
Let
do
me
you
see if I
have? If you, I can get it up. I just need a link or something.
Oh, you need your sheet? Okay, give me 1 second. We have it on the drive.
I need to. I got a new.
I have drive open because I was checking my
yeah.
drive through the way.
Cecilia Brown, she's right there. You can just send it to her.
Yes, please do. Thank you. Very
Sorry.
sorry.
And you do have. Oh, actually, no, you don't. I didn't realize.
I don't.
Cecilia. Yeah, you have 3 dice. So yeah, you need to roll.
Yeah, I had a feeling I did, but I won't double check. So 3 and under 2. It seems like we're doing the 0 difficulty.
I need for you.
1 success.
All right.
I'll send it to you. 1 second.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem.
I moved the things over to my gig stick,
There you
but
go.
then I forgot to actually move it to the computer itself, which is not helpful when you don't have the gig stick.
Indeed.
Perfectly understandable.
All right. So
I don't even remember where on my computer I have my sheet because I've been updating it straight into the drive.
All right.
So I only have it on Google Drive. Go ahead.
So, give me a quick second. I just need to double check and we're rolling with the messy, correct?
Yes.
Yep,
she
I'm
voted
keeping it. I'm keeping it.
All right.
Being freaking risky.
High five, sister.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, we'll address the ones first. Now, a lot of people don't know and are unaware that for quite a few years in the earlier portion of the 20th century and the latter half of the 19th century, there were playing cards espousing famous criminals. They were, you had your mob set, you had your Irish set, you had your notable members of the Black Gorilla family and so forth and so on. There were a number of sets, a number of collections that if you collected them all, you had a list of famous criminals in your particular city that stretched back for however long. Westphalen was also part of that craze. Well, anything to bring money into the coffers of the municipality. One of their sets pertain to the modern land pirates of North Carolina. In Kentucky and Tennessee, they were called rum runners and what have you. But due to its history as a seaport, as a pirate holdout, as the pit of depravity that everyone else saw it as, even despite how strategic it was as a location for combat and warfare, Westphalen called them land pirates, the heirs of the famous Blackbeard, the pirates and buccaneers who, when the privateering, when the high age of sail ended, took to the back roads. They used motorcycles and cars, and they were souped up and kitted out so that they could disappear in the blink of an eye through some winding road in the middle of nowhere. And there were all sorts of manner of things. One of the many notable crew of land pirates made their home in Swan Quarter and ravaged the area. While everyone else was fighting the Civil War, they were using the smokescreen of the war to rob and plunder. First on horseback, then on motorcycle, then in car, then in truck, then, well, as far as anyone is positive of, they no longer exist. Though, if everything is to be believed, they in fact became more organized. They have different chapters and different sub-bosses and minor bosses and lieutenants. And being a man who's involved with the municipality, then you know very well that they are in fact a backbone of the local militia networks. They are go-betweens, they're do-boys, they are those trigger men that take on the most difficult of cases. Those assignments that would require typically 15 plus years behind bars if there's so much as sniffed in the area. And Nathaniel is almost positive that back table is filled with at least 3 of them who should have been in jail for another 5 to 10 years. Mid-range lieutenant. He's not sure exactly which ones per se, but there was a gunfight between 2 motorcycle clubs just north of Swan about 20 years ago when he was still, well, relatively young and active and involved in the world, reading things and collecting cards and doing all those little things that boys and children do of that age. And he's sure that those people there are in fact very, very dangerous. And Cecilia, being new to the area, it's not so much that she knows that they're the dreaded land pirates of Swan Quarter. No, but she can smell trouble. It is a very real sense that kindred develop for knowing who the other monsters are. It's a matter of self-preservation. And that table there, with the 4 bottles on it, the various appetizers and fixings and the mixers, they're definitely not the sort that typically have bottle service. Maybe 17 cases and 5 or 6 dozen bottles of whiskey spilled all over the ground as they make their worst stumbling into the night afterwards. Yes, maybe a roaring bonfire and a raucous laughter. Yes, but sitting in a club as well apportioned as Speakless with bottle service, that's trouble. That's trouble waiting to happen. That is most assuredly trouble by any and every means.
They're the fancy kind of rough customers.
And Tyler,
could I? I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, could I? I just want to size those people up at the table, just kind of giving them side eyes, like trying to be aloof about it. It seemed like, what's their demeanor currently? What are they up to? Are they discussing hushly, or are they just enjoying themselves?
For all intents and purposes, they are in fact just enjoying themselves. But is that just enjoying yourself as you know that hungry dog doesn't have enough bone, kibble, or someone's disconnected limbs to keep them satiated for very long?
Right.
Tyler, Aaron, having looked yourself in the mirror, having managed to scrub away the bulk of all signs of your troubles, the bulk of all signs of your experience in laying devastation across the land, dressed in a bright pink cashmere sweater that formerly had a blood stain in it, a vanilla leather pant, and your boots, along with your overcoat with the blood properly splashed off and melded into leather that has had so many different bloodstains on it that now is part of the pattern. If one was not paying attention, it would very much look as if the coat that Aaron wears has been patterned in a camouflage. But the truth of the matter is, those varying different shades of leather are where blood stains that were not able to be removed soaked into the fabric. And so you have what looks like a camouflage pattern in the coat in various places, but those are battles that she has survived, moments that she has survived and lived through where other things did not. Exiting the restroom, being as aware as Aaron is, being as connected with the very outlaw lifestyle, because it is in fact after a certain point a lifestyle. One becomes institutionalized to rubbing elbows and other parts with people who scoff at the law openly, willingly, and with all due skill. Stepping out of the restroom, looking across the wide floor of Speakless, you find that back table is filled with the modern ideal of the Buccaneer. They have a code. It's not one that anyone else outside of them may actually understand, but they have an operational code. They are the sons and daughters of Blackbeard himself, corporatized, still wild and free, but with a form that follows much of America, and it's all about capitalism. That table there, being here, is most assuredly up to everything except for good. And Tyler, having cleared your head, you're resting at the bar, watching all of the beautiful people cavort and frolic, looking for just the right source, just the right person that deserves the punishment and should be able to return at least and measure it back to you, and you spot them. There's no doubt in your mind. You know that's the table. The people, the men, the women, the young whelps that are coming into themselves at that table are in fact one of the many outlets the coyotes of the anarchs use. They are the criminal faction that have been used by a multiplicity of sources. They don't care who or what you are so long as you pay. And if you don't pay enough, even if it's the agreed upon amount, they will make sure that they get their money by hook, by crook, and usually by your pay. That's the table. The Swan Quarter cadre. They are the lowest level of criminality, but they aspire to the highest level of honor amongst themselves. If you're looking for the wrong people to fuck with, they are definitely the right ones. And then, go on.
No, go ahead.
And then we come to Beatrice. There are certain moments in your life, long gone and dissipated from all manner of actual factuality. The promise of forever is a thing that many can't tolerate. So much so that typically in the first 5 to 10 years, most newly created kindreds cease to be, either walking into the sun or forced there. Oftentimes, it's usually nothing as polite or kind as being immolated by the nuclear rays of the sun. Oftentimes, it's at the blade and tooth or claw of other kindred. Oftentimes, it's suicide by scourge or sheriff or reeve. You, however, have made it your mission and to not be a statistic. You have made it your mission to be the last version of yourself standing. And yet, that has come because you have been wary enough to avoid danger at any and all occurrence. You have been smart enough to be on the edge or the fringe case when things were going sideways. You're never the driver. You're always the passenger. You're never the bride. You're always the maid. You are never the person who is getting shot at, but merely the witness to the event. You do everything you can to protect what you have, which is the promise of forever. So spotting danger. So that is your avocation. Scenting harm so that you can avoid it is your superpower, as it were. And as you relax in the safety and security of a very dark, quiet, for a club anyway, moment, you scan the crowd, looking left and right, watching the beautiful faces of the people gathered do things that they probably should rent a room for, or worse. And then you see the table, and the world opens up to you. In that moment, looking at that table, you are able to see murder, arson, dismemberment, electrocution, gunshot wound, robbery, vehicular homicide, and the list goes on. You are able to see all of the various many ways that the marks on their souls have deigned them for hell. You're not sure if it's you seeing the multiverse as it is. You're not sure if you're able to tap into what will be or what has been, but you see it. It's almost as if there is a Wikipedia that pops up in your head as you look from one member of that table to the next. You're not sure if those things have already happened, will happen tonight, or are in the process of happening sometime later, but you know that red-haired woman, she very well will be convicted of stabbing someone somewhere in the neighborhood of 26 to 27 times. You know that she will die in a prison escape. You know that somewhere along the line, whether it's happening soon or has already happened, she has killed no less than 2 police officers. You look at the gentleman next to her who is laughing raucously, his hand a little far up her hip than it should be. He's run over at least 4 people. He has used a chainsaw to dismember a rival. He purposely burned down his neighbor's garage because it blocked his view of the sunset. You know that somewhere, sometime soon, he will drive headlong into a semi-truck simply because he didn't like the driver cutting him off. The younger guy with the wispy dirt like stain across his top lip that signifies the potential growth of a mustache. You know that he'll never grow that mustache. You know that his last words will be fuck. He won't even finish that, just like he didn't finish high school, just like he didn't finish grade school, just like he ran away from his first 2 marriages. You know that somewhere along the way, that's how he dies, whether it's tonight or some night in the future. You're not entirely sure. And then the piece de resistance, the older blonde male sitting in the center of the table amidst all of those various criminally minded and clearly not criminally gifted individuals. You know, if things don't change, he will be the responsible for no less than 3 kindred deaths. Everything else that he's done pales to that, because there is a hinge, there is a whiff that one of those 3 deaths very well might be yours.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Do I see anybody else in the bar that I know? Because technically I know Cecilia. I met her once, and then I know Nathaniel. Am I alone for now?
You were alone, but as you begin to reach and seek some butterfly wings or a floaty for this pool of madness that's swimming around you, you do catch Nathaniel's face amongst the crowd, sitting, watching, much like yourself, enjoying a quiet moment unto himself.
Okay. Am I sitting down or am I at the bar?
You're sitting down.
Sitting down. Then I'll just for now nod towards Cecilia, and if I see her, and towards Nathaniel, and keep an eye on these guys if they try to do a radical move or something like that.
This is after the Elysium stuff, correct? Yeah. Nobody just wanted, same night. So, given we're in this part of town, she's probably wearing very similar to what Beatrice first saw her in, which is kind of her like hobo getup, essentially, like several layers of jackets, 2 masks on, like they're overlaid, thick gloves, look kind of like they might have a hole in them somewhere. And, she looks basically dressed down so she didn't get mugged, sort of deal, because she looks like she has money. She kind of had that inkling going into this part of town, maybe. A little bit of bourgeois scaredness,
Yeah, so right now. Yeah, sorry.
So you probably recognize that, but I'm not sure if Cecilia would see Beatrice right away. I'm not sure how dense this place is. It's kind of up to nobody.
And as far as look, I'm pretty sure they didn't have time to go back to change, so probably got out of our probably at least survive of our event earlier tonight. Beatrice is wearing hunting drabs, like oversized hunting drab. Her hair is still half in the updo, half fallen down because of all the activity. So it's like a bit of a mess / awkwardness, being that the clothes that she wears doesn't fit her really.
It's the day of stolen clothes, apparently.
Yes, exactly. Well, they were borrowed. They were borrowed by to the owner.
Yeah, mine are stolen, but
details.
Nobody. Would you say it's fair? Cecilia notices. It's up to you.
Yes.
I don't mind either way. Cool. Yeah. So getting the nod, she'll kind of be like, "Oh, someone I actually recognize." She only talked with Beatrice for a few minutes. Things were kind of rushed, but seeing a familiar face here, maybe she'll. What's kind of her vibe right now? Is she looking out because she just had that experience? Is she looking distressed?
She doesn't have, if I look at how she felt, she doesn't have that much composure, but she's able to fake it quite good.
Maybe looking a little distracted, but not
a little distracted, not overly destroyed, overly down.
Mm-hmm. Sure, Cecilia might be like, "Oh, someone's here," and then kind of shuffle over casually, just might as well. No reason just to be an island unto myself in the middle of a bar where everyone who's drinking alone is probably just sad.
I could check, but we'll see later. I'll nod to you. Unless you engage conversation, for now I'll just keep an eye on that group.
Yeah, she'll sit down and just be like, "Didn't think I'd see anyone that I'd know around here tonight." That kind of I'm doing is her. She just breathes a little different because of how her teeth are formed.
Yeah. Well, I guess it must be fate. Fate drives a lot of things.
I guess it does. That group over there, though. A little strange, she said. Yeah, they give me the mafia kind of vibe.
Yeah, they're feel like even though we're monsters, quote unquote, I say it really not swearing. What is it?
Like air quotes?
No, really low tone. I just whisper.
Oh, you're whispering it, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
really whispering. Like, even though we're monsters, we're not the biggest monster here.
Don't know if that makes me feel better or worse.
Oh, you've got no idea, girls.
Where's Tyler coming in on this? Is he just like, coming out of obfuscate like, hey guys, how you doing?
Like over their shoulder, like you got no idea.
Yeah, sadly, I still can't feel him.
Is he actually doing that, or are you just commenting OC because it's funny? I
was kind of fucking around OC.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I
don't know if I'm allowed to just skip out a turn like that.
No, I mean, hey, honestly, if he does that, I think that's great. I'm all for it, honestly, because it's funny as hell.
Yep.
You all are in the same room, and for those of you who don't normally blush, the darkness of the club makes it so that it's not necessarily the thing that you have to do. So seeing each other as what you are is a little easier in environments such as this.
I will say Cecilia is blush, but anyone who knows how Nosferatu hide probably know, like, all right, she's either just a weirdo or because no one needs that many coats this time, even if it's this time of year. Like, no one needs to wear that many coats and that many masks.
Tyler is not blush.
It's not a COVID world, so we're seeing someone in America with medical masks on. It's like, what are they hiding from?
It's still a creepy feeling. That's what
Tyler's not blush. He kind of figures that because it's a night and it's a club and the lights are probably cast down, his disguise will be enough. I am updating in No Mic Chat what does this guy's look like.
Like, you got no idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I see here's the two of you saying exactly that, Beatrice saying that we're not the biggest monster here. He can't stop himself. He likes people being afraid of him. I mean, it's a little pleasure of life. So yeah, he goes and says, oh, you got no idea, girls.
Do you break obfuscate or you?
I don't think it was obfuscated in the first place.
Okay.
Okay.
In a surprise gasp, I'll just turn around and look at him and.
Yeah, what does he look like? What's he got going on right now?
I sent the picture in No Mic Chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No Mic live play. Go there. You're gonna see.
Oh yeah. That's
funny.
That's a good one.
Funny that you would say that, sir. But
he's pretty tall too. Much taller. I'm not exactly sure. I know Beatrice is pretty short. I don't know how tall Cecilia is, but Tyler's very.
She's actually quite tall. She's like 6 foot flat, maybe like a quarter an inch below. Yeah, she's got a dancer body. She's very tall. Like a strange dancer. But Beatrice is like 5'3" or something.
Exactly. What we're sitting, I think. So I guess the height, Cecile's height, is not so much.
Oh yeah, no, it's not that pronounced. Yeah, right now because she's sitting.
Nobody. Does Tyler see Aaron?
Not yet. She's near the restrooms. Tyler formerly had the longest overwatch of the room, followed by Nathaniel with Beatrice and Cecilia sitting closer to the center of the room, closer to the bar. They're pretty ladies, or believed to be pretty ladies, so the staff would naturally sit them closer to the action because they get guys to buy more drinks.
One moment. Mm-hmm. Keep going. I'm just BRBing for a second.
No worries. And Erin is nearest the restroom, so she's in the hall entering into this large circular room where the bar is typically the main entertainment, despite the dance floor being about 25-35 paces to the north of the room. So there's a little space, an alcove almost, where the DJ and the dance floor actually is, but the bar is where all the action happens. They actually hire full-fledged mixologists and performance bartenders. So you see mixing glasses flipping and bottles being poured from what looks like 2.5 feet away. You see the blind pours and the row of shots lined on to drop glasses so that once the first shot is kicked, all the others drop in. You see the occasional burst of flame as someone lights a drink on fire. It is, for lack of a better word, designed to make people separate themselves from their money.
I was gonna ask if her, because she entered the club obfuscated because she was covered in blood.
Yeah.
It changed. So like the changing and like taking the blood at least out of her hair and immediate face probably broke the obfuscate, right?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's I just wanted to confirm. So yeah, Erin is gonna be just like breathing in. She has her bloodied clothing in a bag, like a supermarket bag. She's just like sighing and looking for a place to sit. She kind of noticed the wannabe land pirates and just kind of snorts. Like, okay. And goes like, okay. And then she's looking around. Would she be able to see Tyler?
Yes, he's standing near a table full of women.
Yeah, that's great tonight. Especially tonight. That's great. She's just like staring, not fixatedly because she's on the point of emotional breakdown afterwards, and she's just kind of numb and depressed.
Watching Tyler.
And she's like,
watching Tyler at the table of women, it is hard not to envision F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu. You've seen the black and white image of the Nosferatu in various memes throughout the last year or more, but thanks to Ingrid and Angel. But it is hard to not envision him, his hands elongated, him crouched over, the large bat ears, and him looking as if he's feeding on the very essence of them. Even though he's not. His hands are in his pocket, he's standing upright, and while he's an imposing figure, it's hard to not envision him preying on the ladies at the table. They're looking over their shoulders up at him, and he's praying in public.
She has the mental image of him and Rose talking when she walked into them on Old Treasures, and all the things that she was thinking just like a few moments ago, actually, minutes. And she's just like done. She's just tired, and she sits in the bar, like far from his view still, but just watching to see where he goes, trying to get herself back into any semblance of how they used. She was before all this mental breakdown out of stress, still trying to get her head cleared. She is not blushed, which I was gonna ask, is this a problem for me specifically?
It is, but it also is not, because unfortunately alcohol and illicit drugs definitively take away from good common sense, the natural aura of evil, because that's what death is for the average person. The feeling of evil does not dissuade people from sizing her up for various activities. And while she's immune to that amorphous, lascivious, lusty thing that people do at bars where they arch their eyebrows or look towards you and look away and then look back to see if you're still looking. All of those little games that people play are completely missing their mark. They're literally shooting at Superman with Nerf bullets. It is nothing to Erin. They're just being weird people at the bar. But for them, they're making eye contact and she forgets to look away, so they think that they have it in. So they lean over the bar, whispering to the bartender or to the bar back to find out what it is that Erin is drinking. And despite the fact that Erin is corpse-like, there's a repulsive aspect to Erin, because every time you look at Erin, you see your death. She is clearly something that's capable of ending all that you might be. The pale skin, the slightly sunken eyes, the very real too wiry strength that's visible every time she moves. The way that she holds eye contact for far too long, where the emotions in her mind never quite make it to her face. The body language that most people automatically adapt when they're going through a thing or they're needing to protect their soft center. Like you'll notice when people are under stress, they'll fold their arms, they'll hold their stomachs, they'll fold their hands in front of them, they'll hunch a little bit to protect the soft parts of themselves while they're dealing with what's going on in their mind. Erin has been so disconnected for so long from humanity, those things don't happen. She is taking up space like a predator would. I'm not afraid of anything here. There is nothing here that I cannot and will not kill. She is visibly and visually sizing up every person that she sees. She's not doing it on purpose. It's force of habit. Who's the most criminal person? Where can I get the blood that I want and need? Where can I? And that very real predatory gaze that she has. Instead of it being something that off-puts people, instead of it being the warning sign for smart, safe individuals to keep on living, here in this club full of lascivious, criminally minded adults, she might as well be putting out a sign, open for business. Because there's several whispers, there are several nods, and people slipping the bartender huge sums of pocket cash to get them to find out what she's drinking. So they send it over and make their approach. And it's not just limited to the typical sleazy bar guys. No, there are women who are clearly bosses in their own venture. There are clearly people of all manner and stripe of identities and genders who find the challenge of someone so bold as to be in a bar in a club like this by themselves something that they're willing to rise towards. And while Erin is impervious and oblivious to it, Nathaniel, who has studied and who does study power, can't help but notice it.
Sorry, I was muted. So I see people trying to get on Erin. Is that it?
Yep, in the most subtle, oblivious to Erin manners possible. There's Nathaniel is literally counting the number of ways that he sees people using the same tricks from different perspectives as he watches the bar. Because like everything, when there is a predator in the jungle, when there is a shark swimming through a pool of fish, there's a disturbance amongst them. And Erin is that disturbance. They don't realize or are too drunk, high, inebriated, or any state between to notice that she is in fact the predator that they should fear. So they're taking her boldness, her absence of interaction, as sign that they may have a shot. They don't see any wedding rings. That's an interesting fingernail polish with it being solely under the fingernail, but so what? You know, people make their own way. The fact that she's taking up space the way that she is and holding her own and watching the room instead of watching them. Oh, yes, we will make our approach. We will make fools of ourselves in the process.
Oh yeah, that's gonna end so well for them.
Yep. I did spot that Beatrice was getting surrounded by a lot of people, but I have an eye on that to see if she's in trouble or anything. But I am definitely keeping an eye on that Erin situation, because that seems to be the kind of comedic relief Nathaniel needs after the night.
Excellent.
And also, he's kind of tired of fixing Masquerade Breach, so he thinks that if things go too bad, he might step in before things turn to shit. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. If only he knew what Erin just walked out of.
Yeah. Please don't tell me.
You don't want to know. Trust me.
It's what I'm saying. Please don't tell me.
Oh boy. But yeah, if drinks are sent her way, Erin's just not gonna give a fuck. She's just sitting there and ignore the bartender and just
Her eyes are
observe
like-
both the criminals in the back room and watch the table where Tyler is.
She's spacing out on a
And-
whole other planet.
Yeah, like she's sitting on the bar stool. There is a bag in her lap that if anyone is smart enough and the lights are not too colorful, you can kind of see that there is a lot of blood in the middle of those clothes. But there's a lot of colorful lights usually in bars and it's dark, so it's easily passable as just a colorful bag. But yeah, she's just not giving a fuck at the moment and observing what happens in the table that Tyler is talking to and being very depressed. Unless someone approaches. Does anyone actually approaches and tries to talk to her?
In a moment.
From the
Yes, I'll
dudes
just.
or like, no, I mean from like the dudes that are.
Oh, my mistake. I apologize.
No, no problem. No problem.
No, not just yet. You can tell that it is ramping up. You can feel them egging each other on. They'll catch someone sending a drink down that gets ignored, and so they'll send a drink down that gets ignored, and they'll see that someone else sent a drink down, and so they're leaning over talking to the bartender, and more cash is slipped over. The bartenders are making more in tips by making drinks that will never be consumed, and they have all the drinks they've made thus far because it is now a
Yeah, there's like 4 to 5 drinks in front of there, and it's just not giving a fuck.
Damn, you're popular, girl.
Yeah, and I don't even have beautiful in my merits. I just have a lot of blood.
Danger is sexy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Come on.
Even in
Have you-
a pink
have-
cardigan.
I mean, hey, we might be dead, but have we looked at Twitter recently? People are simping all over things that could kill them. That's what people want this day and age.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, that's what Erin's doing. She's just ignoring things. So, go on.
excellent. And while Aaron is ignoring things, and the storm is brewing on a multiplicity of fronts, Tyler, you know vampires like no one's business. You fought them for 30 years. And you joined the winning team because it's the team that you're on. Not because you particularly agree that the Anarchs are 100% right, that they're good guys, that as many of the young kindred you've spoken with believe that they are in fact the knights in shining bloody leather, but they, just like all kindred, are monsters. Less monstrous on certain aspects and more monstrous in others.
Yeah.
One of the many dissonances that the Anarchs hold is their freedom of agency, freedom of choice, that allows the smart, discerning, sociopathic members of the Anarchs to get up to all manner of atrocities because they have learned that so long as you clean up your mess, you don't have to worry about making it. So what?
Yep.
You slaughter the family. It happens. Did anybody find out? Nope, none the wiser. So what? You ran several cars off the road and divested them of their passengers. But you got rid of the body, so there's just a missing persons. Perfect, you're good. You want to experiment on thin bloods to your heart's content? All the better for you. Because after all, who cares about thin bloods? They're not even human. They're not even kindred.
There's like nothing. They're in between life and death. Yeah.
They're a victimless crime as far as many kindred are concerned. And while the Anarchs as a whole, as a monolith, don't really care about them one way or the other, they're not signs of the apocalypse, they're not anything. There are very many of the older Anarchs who view them much the same way as the Tower, and will accidentally, on purpose, happen to slaughter a coterie of thin bloods or happen to do other various things to them. All of this to say that Tyler very much notices the disturbance in the force. He first checks the table at the end of the room with the Swan Quarter land pirates, as they are. They're all still there, partying and being raucous enough to draw attention, but he also notices the disturbance at the bar. And if there's anything that comes close to his fantasized imagery of the specter of death, it would be the scarlet tressed, pale predator sitting there, their eyes dead, watching the room. If he didn't know better, he'd say that they were watching him, but there's no reason to watch him after all. He's merely having a conversation. But yet, there she is.
So I do see Erin now. Are you saying I'm not recognizing her?
No, you definitely recognize her and you definitely see her. You definitely realize that while Beatrice is no model, and while Cecilia is, well, Cecilia, they are still very much feminine in form.
And how close was Nathaniel to her?
Nathaniel is halfway in between you and Aaron.
Okay, but he's not like talking to her. I seem to recall that he was just watching her here.
Yes.
All right. Well, if he sees Aaron, he's definitely gonna go toward her. There's no, yeah. So he saw Beatrice and Cecilia, and he heard the whole thing about, like, yeah, we're not the biggest monster in her, and here, like that, to him, very much sounded like typical, like, whiny vampire talk, which, you know, everybody's prone to from time to time. Oh, we're not the biggest monster here. Humanity is a real monster. Yeah, get real.
What? I wanted to ask you a question about that, the monster interest. Like, if you come in when I say that, I would return the favor saying, well, what do you know about monsters?
I look at one every night in the mirror.
That much? Sorry, bro.
But if he sees Aaron,
That's something you have to apologize for.
he's gonna go over to her because she's the stars in the sky, she's the moon, she's the sun, she's everything to him.
And he probably notices that first, she has a very hollow expression, not more than her usual. And second, well, she's in a beige pants, pink cardigan under her coat.
Does she smell like blood?
Yes.
Most likely, a lot of blood. She smells like gasoline. And
gasoline
like
too.
Burned meat. Yes.
Well, that's her usual perfume.
Kind of washed. She kind of like tried to wash the roof of it in the bathroom, which didn't take a lot. And it doesn't help the smell that she still has the clothes that she was priorly using in a bag in her lap, which anyone sober enough probably can notice that there's a lot of blood in those clothes inside that bag. But she just has it like in her lap, and she's kind of hunched over the bar, so it's not that visible for now. Well, yeah, once she looks, she's kind of just gonna like look away and but she's not moving, but she's just like look away a bit.
Tyler's gonna go over to her.
When he leaves after she kind of like sized him and saw he was like, he was one of her, part of the clan. He was just like seeing after he just like barged in, like not really barged. He walked up, he made a comment, then he was like, "What's his deal? You know him?"
Well, I'll clearly see that Nathaniel is going for that creepy woman in the back and that other creepy man thingy just barging in about monsters and then leaving and dashing for that girl.
To be fair, it's not so much a dash; he's just walking.
I know.
a drive by.
I would kind of be on edge, like, what the fuck is happening? It's like,
you know what's happening. There's death in the offing. Every second of every night, something and someone dies. The question is, at the end of the day, that Beatrice consider themselves something for someone. She's already foreseen that there is death happening soon. Whether it's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, it will be soon. And that person, that entity sitting in the midst of that table of hooligans, criminals, mafiosos, organized criminal masterminds will be the catalyst for no less than 3 kindred deaths. And you just met another additional kindred. So as far as you are aware, there are 5 kindred in this building. And normally your ability to see tomorrow, next year, the next few moments is usually right. About 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. And that feeling, that sight of death knows that typically that means or should mean that 2 of you will survive whatever happens.
Well, I'm counting the group. I know, including myself, there's 3 people I know. 2 kind of probably kindreds that I don't know. That seems to be on, how I can say it, like unenjoyable company. So I probably just turn around to Celia. I have a bad feeling about this. I feel
Kind of looking over the.
either like I'm in between that guy and those 2. Like, who's gonna be more dangerous? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, trying to understand the moment and probably try to attract Natalia's attention to not go for that creepy monster in the back. That corpse walking around.
At the comment, sorry, my internet kind of jumped a bit, I think. It's like, Nathaniel, yeah, there are a lot of us here, aren't they? But why?
I'm counting 5. I don't know exactly.
Coincidences.
Yeah.
What about that one? That one's attracting the whole damn place to her, and I don't think she wants to. Can Cecilia perhaps roll insight to see if something like awe is active, like some sort of discipline is drawing the kind to them?
Sure.
Sorry.
Very good.
Sure, go right ahead.
The idea of Aaron having awe is absolutely hilarious.
I mean, she has no idea what kind of kindred you are. So she's like,
I know, don't worry.
what kind of dice am I rolling here?
Let me quick second here. Let's go ahead and bring up the handy dandy notes. It's like map, but from Dora the Explorer, but not quite. And let's see here.
You seem kind of far away from your mic, nobody.
Yeah, I was.
Me too, actually. Oh, now that's better.
I was mumbling. I do that from time to time. Forgive me. It's running dialogue. The soundtrack keeps going, but the volume goes up and down because it's not really a focus.
Right.
So, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure plus intelligence for me, please?
Composure, intelligence?
Yes.
Sure. That's 4. I have 2 hunger. 1 success.
She is definitely kindred. She's definitely using some ability of her aura. There's probably presence, perhaps dominate, maybe mass effect. She is the mastermind behind everyone being focused on her.
All right. Cecilia, maybe she does want it though. Look at them, they're like flies. Going to a trap. I don't think she needs that much blood.
No, but at the same time, it's a bar, and I guess.
What, does she just want her pick of the litter?
Can I smell the blood out of your bag?
Not from this distance. Too much axe, too much aqua de joe, too much.
Okay. Too much difference.
And then I'm seeing Nathaniel. Is Nathaniel moving, or is he still watching?
No, he's
He's
watching.
watching.
He's watching.
Okay, he's watching. He's not moving to it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, for now, I'll just watch the dynamic of the group and like get ready to react if there's anything happening. Whatever reaction I can do.
Yeah, Cecilia was definitely interested. Like, what's this one doing? Like, what is she up to? I'm more curious.
She's manipulating the emotional. She's manipulating the emotional or mental affects of everyone in the room. You're not sure how long or how you were able to avoid it thus far, but it is clear that watching her dead stare and her slow, methodical movement as she scans over the crowd, that she's calling or summoning someone or something or the entirety of the room towards herself. It's already,
yes. What I mean is, like, Seal's just going to watch and be like, to what end? Like, what is she doing that for? You know, like, just wait and see sort of deal.
That someone is very much like a moth drawn to the flame.
And the flame is shining bright.
Yep, shining bright.
Tyler doesn't know Nathaniel. I've never met him. I kind of guessed that Cecilia, which is probably like wearing like layers upon layers of clothes and not show that she's a monster.
No, it is not visible, but she definitely looks a little weird.
Yeah. He has a Nosferatu himself, so he gets the tricks, you know.
Yeah. No, he knows. It's fucking obvious.
Yeah, and Beatrice went with the wall. We're not the biggest monster in here, so you know, like I said, that's whiny and ice stuff. So you know, he figured as much. But he has no idea that Nathaniel is a vampire. He just looks like a guy who's overly dressed here, much like him, to be honest. Although Tyler does have some blood on his suit, which probably doesn't really show right now because this is a bar, so I'm guessing the light is low and there's probably like whatever effect they wanted to add to it to look cool.
Oh yeah, Speakless is definitely the place where being cool is more important than being right.
Yeah.
Cool is more important than most things in Speakless, at least for those who have not managed to ever make it into the lower recesses of this place. It's the
one of the things that
Tyler knows, though, is that when there's more than 2 vampires in one place, usually somebody dies. And when it's Tyler and Aaron, you really only need 2.
Yep.
But still, he's drawn to her. And as he gets close, he smells the blood and that gasoline and the smell of burning on her. And he realized she probably had quite the night. And he's fairly certain that he's the reason for it, which doesn't really help with everything he's feeling right now. So, not to be rude, but considering that he thinks Nathaniel is just some rich fop over there, he makes his way to Aaron, and he speaks to her.
She's not speaking. She's just looking at the side of the bar. She's not looking at it anymore. And she's just like,
I'm sorry, Red. You okay? He reaches out to her with one of his, actually getting one of his hand out of his pocket. Hopefully nobody will notice that they're very pale and too big to be on a human. And he tries to
take her hand away, but she doesn't grab it back.
Well, he puts it, no, I don't know, on her back. Not quite sure, like, the position we're in right now.
She's just sitting on the bar stool and, like, leaning on the bar. And there's a bag with bloodied clothing in her lap.
Well, the lack of reaction worries him now.
Yes, it's just...
Are you mad at me?
I don't know. It's been a night, to say the least.
Yeah, I think I can tell. Tyler nods over to the table with the badasses, essentially, the criminals, the land pirates, all those people. Yeah. And he says, "You want to hurt somebody?"
I've already did.
Okay, now he shows concerns. Because usually hurting somebody, makes her in a better mood.
Yeah. She's still kind of like numb. She's right there. She's not speaking about this here because there's many people around, but yeah.
All right. He starts to realize that this might not just be about him. It's just a bit of a shock.
He's going to eye the table that Cecilia and Beatrice were, and is going like, your beast is not the only one that acts up now and again. Then again, it wasn't really it this time.
I mean, Aaron is getting the stare down from dead fish eyes.
They don't exactly make my beast purr, if you get what I'm saying. You know that.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
I'm sorry, Red. I don't want to feel like this.
It's okay.
You had anything I can do to make you feel better, to help you?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Tyler's gonna sit beside her on the bench. A stool, I guess, because it's a bar, so it's probably stools, not bench.
She's against the bar.
We're not at church.
Yeah.
To the people that watch this, it's probably weird because he just walked up to Beatrice and Cecilia and was like the scary guy. Then he notices Erin and he just walks over to her and he's like, what's wrong with her?
It's mostly weird because she rebuked everybody except him.
On top of that,
like all the little playboys, she was like, no, give a damn.
Yeah, and the weird guy with the scarf and the glasses.
Literally the shadiest man on planet Earth walks up and she's like, oh.
I would pay to see the playboys' faces right now. There's like 5 drinks on the table and she's snuggled.
Literally didn't even notice that she'd gotten drinks. She's like, oh, these are here?
Yeah, she didn't even care. But she's like, she does mention like briefly, the Hollow is going to be on the news. Probably.
Well, we'll deal with that tomorrow. What happened, Red?
It's mostly dealt with. I went for a drink And I talked too much.
Fuck.
And people saw.
Fuck.
And I handled them, but they told other people. And I handled them too.
How many?
And one of around 25, I think. Sure.
Time, I gotta go.
And she's just saying this like completely nonplussed, like just, I'm tired. Like, it's boring.
25 souls snuffed out over the course of a few minutes of a little bit of labor. The skill necessary to do so speaks volume. The willingness says far more. There is an eventuality to all kindred that is hard to stare into the face of and not look away. Erin has had no choice but to stare it down into submission, and in the course of doing so, it has cost her significantly this evening. And speaking of cost, as Beatrice does what Beatrice does, which is learn things, to see things, to hear things, forgetting the fact that they are in fact in a nightclub with a bass that has not stopped since they've entered, shifting their senses to the supernal, heightening their focus and attempting to overhear. When attempting to swallow down the background noise and focus through it, to grit through the pain, because that is exactly what it is. It is as if someone has reached inside their eardrums with a very small, minuscule person and begun playing the tympanic membrane in their eardrums as if they were playing a huge bass drum. And while Beatrice tries to focus through it, the only thing that she hears as Tyler and Aaron speaks is,
okay, I may have been misunderstood the ambience in general. If it's really loud music, I would shut off, like at least not enhancing my hearing. But I'll go with it. I'll roll with it.
Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. And as Beatrice realizes that this subtle, never-ending bass that they've grown accustomed to is in fact a problem when attempting to heighten their senses, they pull it back to themselves, but in the process it will be impossible for Cecilia to not notice, even as she notices that the waitstaff here, they're all young, they're all attractive, they're all dressed in form-fitting black tees. The odd staff members wearing a skirt instead of the form-fitting leggings and high heels and what have you. She spots 3 of the staff members. They're still wearing black tees. They're not form-fitting. They're not as if they were sewn into them. Right. And the pants are a little baggy. The fact that they're wearing what you could approximate are shoes for crews or some other huge gaudy boot for grip and stability stands out to you. Being a Nosferatu, you notice small things because you spent most of your time watching the people around you, watching the world go by, because there's a very real understanding that if you are ugly, if you are hideous, if you are less than the top 10% of most attractive people in the world, the average person chooses to ignore you if they can. And if they can't ignore you, they choose to rebuke you. There's been numerous times where, disguised though they might be, Cecilia was treated as if she was homeless, as if she was indigent, as if she was an outsider, standing, waiting. They didn't even realize that they were in the presence of a predator. They drop coins or toss a few bills. One lady reached out, taking her hands and forcing bills into them. I know you can do better. Just take this and do some good for yourself, she says. The patronizing of it all, because she was doing it not for Cecilia, but for her own thought, for her own state.
Consciousness.
Yep. has nothing to do with her helping the poor, but all about her having a photo opportunity in her mind to relive. I'm a good person, she says, emptying her medicine cabinet. I'm a good person, she says, abusing her family members. I'm a good person, she says, as she, for the umpteenth time, yells obscenities and profanity at someone who worked behind some counter somewhere because they simply had the wrong person at the wrong time. But I'm a good person. And noticing those people in the crowd, dressed as staff members, moving closer to the table where all of those ne'er-do-wells, those roguish modern-day Robin Hoods who will do all manner of crime and have done all manner of crime over the course of their lives, is odd. Like she's seen this movie before.
They're moving towards the ones that stand out are moving towards the land pirates, as it were. Seeing this,
Alright.
I think it's one. I want to try and see if they are carrying anything that a waiter really shouldn't be. Maybe a weapon. Maybe this isn't a bottle service type deal. Maybe they've made some enemies. Or maybe these are their personal waiters, you know, and maybe they are packing weapons, but aren't there for malicious intent. Hello?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So Cecilia watches and attempts to do a visual pat down. Where could they be hiding weapons in that baggy attire? And with all due experience, with all due experience in ne'er-do-wells, in the lesser side of society, baggy clothing is the best camouflage. You can make anything and everything invisible with just a little room in your clothing. Hell, you're hiding an entire Nosferatu between layers of clothes, layers of baggy clothing. What could a normal human hide with layers of baggy clothing? There could be a rifle, there could be a gun, there could be a knife, there could be a court summons, there could be a badge, there could be any number of things that may be occluded by the dark, baggy clothing.
Well, damn.
What does it seem like they might be packing, if I can tell?
Danger. Death. Dismemberment. There are people who are up to no good, and then there are people who live in that state. And it is clear by the simple fact that there is an ominous cloud in the air. You're sitting next to a endless pit of potential violence in Beatrice, and she's actively looking around and holding her ears and trying to take in the world around her. Strange individuals like that are, well, like harbingers of that.
Right.
Then you have Mr. Tall and Spooky, who, much like yourself, is obfuscated between and beneath layers of slightly baggy clothing. Then there's the Pillar of Death. There's no disguising that. The redhead of the bar is, in fact, a kindred who is utilizing some mental presence pheromones to affect the crowd. What if she is directing them to do something heinous? What will you do?
I want first to take a look at the people at the table, the land pirates, as it were. Are they reacting to the approach of the waiters, the strange ones, before they actually arrive? Like, because they're celebrating right now. They're just having a grand old time. Does their expression sour? Are they recognizing faces? Or is this business as usual right now?
They're celebrating.
Business as usual, then.
They are in their cups. They are all about this moment.
Then I'm going to like kind of raise a hand, put it on like Beatrice's head, like just clamped, not super hard, just like, and then just like turn her head lightly like towards the other group. It's like, we may have a problem. Like, look this way. I see you're distracted. Let me fix that.
I'm not distracted at all. No. Okay, well, I don't resist because clearly she's way stronger than me.
It's not super. She's not doing it like roughly, like, "Hey, asshole, look this." She's more just kind of like Beatrice.
So,
are you noticing that we might be in the midst of a gang shooting here?
now that you say it, maybe.
Well, they don't look
Two actions.
like the rest of the waiting staff.
Well, then I think we should probably move away to maybe warn warn Nathaniel to be sure we don't get hit in the crossfire.
Do they look like they're one of us too? Any of them?
If they look like they were aiming for us?
No. Like she's asking if any of the strange waiters look dead too, or maybe are they ghouls? They could be. This could be a kindred matter, which means we can't just let the kind fuck themselves over. We might have to handle this.
Is this something I can see with Scry the Soul? If somebody's been ghouled?
Typically, no.
No, okay. It's just something
Then it may be if it's a difficulty.
I'm not asking it. I just
Oh, okay.
I'm asking like loudly, like it's more internal because I would know how my powers work ish. Okay. Sorry. So you wanted to?
Yeah, no, she wasn't talking in character there. I was just kind of like, thinking as a player, like, I have something I could do here. And then, like, having no idea if they're human or if they're not, or if there's something in between.
Well,
and what may be happening here, I want to just close. Sales is going to close her eyes and think back to her dreams. She's going to use her close examination ability, which is from the Cleopatra lore sheet.
just one quick question: where are they? Are they almost at the table? Can we intercept them? The strange waiters.
Okay, so we're 3 actions in. There's always time, or maybe not. Unfortunately, as things are always moving forward, your choice of actions is what determines what happens. Would you like to perhaps do something as recklessly vibrant and active as interceding or causing a scene with one or more of the waiters?
Well, because what I'm pondering, what I'm considering, can I intercept him and just get eye contact with him and say, "Get outside"?
Give it a shot. Would you like to?
Well, I mean, if he's like already like most of the way, like, am I in the way? Can I intercept him without like literally going towards that table? That's what I'm asking.
Tactically, there's always a chance. Factually, that's up to you to decide, unfortunately, because they are still moving. It's not something that you while Beatrice has the ability for premonition, it happens randomly by fate. She's already seen that 3 kindred will die. She sees a crew of potential assassins, maybe just police officers, maybe just family members who are trying to collect child support, maybe just the wrong people at the wrong place at the wrong time, but something is and will happen. Will she choose to put her body in the way and intercede to try to utilize her disciplines? Will she stand back and watch? Will she notify someone else?
Well, okay then. if like it's really putting myself into danger. So I was wondering if I could intercept one of them without like overextending myself. If I would need to overextend, she won't do it. As much as she doesn't like people dying, if like people are trying to shoot each other, there's nothing she can do about it. She doesn't have the presence of some other people. So I would propose to fall back and look and assess. Fall back and assess.
That's what she's proposing?
Yeah.
Okay.
In character, I would say, like, let's join up with Nathaniel and see what they're doing before getting hit.
I might already have it covered. And that's when she like closes her eyes, and I want to activate that ability.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you do it.
Okay. That's okay. So she'll do that now. What it does is it grants 3 dice extra to a wit's insight roll, and if I crit on that roll, the question I ask is answered, like 100%.
Which source book is that from?
That is the Bloodline. Hold on, let me get it. Control shoot. Yes, it's Children of the Blood.
Children of the Blood, yes.
While that research is going, could I compliment just one last Tyler, and a conversation on the side would be going on?
Yes.
Aaron would comment to Tyler after, you know, it's kind. I got hurt. Failing.
I'm sorry. I gotta.
Yeah, I think Aaron's cutting off.
Yeah, you're cutting off a bit there.
Discord might be.
Yeah.
I hear all you guys fine. Maybe it's on your end. Yeah. See if you're downloading something.
Yeah, you're cutting off a
Can you hear
bit
me
there.
now?
It seems like it's better. Try talking again, Aaron.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Very.
Yes, a lot. Yep.
Okay. She would be after the explaining all that happened. She would kind of chuckle a bit and like a bit on the mumbly side, the brass side. She seems very hollow, but to Tyler, who had quite a while with her, you can kind of tell that she's on a right now, and she's not in with her full like armor on, let's say. She goes and comments like, it's funny. I was sad and upset that you couldn't control well, your beast, one woman. And there I go, failing to control, quieting it, and getting all those people killed. The beast wasn't there. Always are so worried that your beast is gonna ruin things. And here I am, being the problem rather than my beast. I think I'm more than my beast.
Well, I'd be a fucking asshole if I held it against you. after the amount of time you just forgave me for fucking up. So
It was your... There's a difference though, isn't it? It's your beat. It's not exactly completely your fault. It's a strong thing after all.
I told you to hold me accountable for that shit though. I mean, it's not fair for you. I can't just get a free pass because that thing's in my head. I should be better than that. I don't want to be like this.
That's the trouble too, I bet. I get tired of being good, of trying to be good.
You can't stop.
Kind of a...
One of us has to be. I mean, what's Angel or Ingrid gonna think if we just spiral down into whatever it is we'll become?
Yeah. I kept trying for her, especially.
Yeah. We got a family now, huh?
Yeah. When Zeke's around, I tried being myself. Then, for that, when Angel, I tried. And it worked for a bit, but so either way, I'm no good. Trying to be good, or just my rot. So it's kind of hilarious that I get disappointed at you. What your beast does when you don't. I should be mad at what I myself, without even my beast being right.
I'm not sure I like what you're going with this here. I mean, yeah. If you tell me it's okay for me to let it free, this is not gonna end well.
I'm not saying it's good.
I get that. But like I said, we have a family now, so we need to do better for both of them, for all of them. Yeah. We'll get through this, Red. We always do, right? We're Tyler and Aaron. We win. That's what we do.
I hope so. And she kind of just like leans her head on his shoulder. She's just really off. She's still going on the... She won her remorse roll, so she is fucking depressed.
Yeah, for sure. Especially after gambling over 20 people.
Yeah.
Like,
and while Aaron is laying...
depression train right now.
As you do.
So that's just what I wanted to add there. Go ahead, my buddy.
Yep, go ahead.
And while Erin is laying her head on Tyler's shoulder, the unmistakable sounds of danger erupt all throughout the room. This is a place where people are accustomed to violence. This is a place where people are accustomed to things going sideways. So while Nathaniel watches, and while Cecilia watches, and while Tyler and Aaron sort through some of the battles that every kindred have with the beast, the slightly bulkily dressed servers, male and female, are responsible for gunshots going off towards the table that everyone had noticed. The gunshots going off seem to strike their marks as chairs are overturned, tables are knocked over, bottles hit the ground. And unlike most places where people are unsure what to do when gunfire breaks out, most of the crowd, the bartenders, drop behind the bar because it is the most secure, safe area, and they begin crawling from behind the bar. The bouncers begin trying to cordon off the area, getting people out instead of closing doors. The other servers drop what they're holding immediately and begin making their way away from the danger. And the table that everyone noticed, well, they began returning fire. No real aim because, well, accuracy goes out the window somewhere around the 7th or 8th highball filled with gin or the 14th shot of whiskey. So there are random bullets whizzing through the space. There are screams and cries of panic as, well, for these people, this is hell on earth, or better known as Friday at Speakless. In order of alphabetically, what are you doing as World War 19 breaks out at Speakless? Being kindred, you know that the bullets typically won't kill you unless, of course, they, hit your eye, hit with enough members and brothers and sisters and fellow projectiles to riddle your heart null and void, or they completely remove everything that you are from yourself. Otherwise, it's just a pain in the ass. It's like being stabbed. Painful, but survivable.
Well, when we had a discussion with Cecilia about the clearly weird what is it, waiters approaching the sketchy group, I wanted to go towards Nathaniel, and if I see it, they do start pulling weapon, I would tell him, like, we have to get out of here and maybe dash for whatever exit is more the closest, maybe the back door or the bathroom behind where Tyler and Aaron are.
That is a place of retreat, the bathrooms or the door. There is an absolute choice here. You can make your way through the crowd because, in truth, while Beatrice isn't the strongest entity, undead flesh has the benefit that it doesn't build up lactic acid. She doesn't get tired. She can literally run until sunrise if she so chose. So there's nothing that honestly could stand in her way unless, of course, she was doing so purposefully.
Okay, so well, if I can, I'll try to motivate Tanya also to dash for the back if it's the safest and the closest, unless the bar is closest, like just to hide, pretty much. I don't know if Cecilia would follow that idea.
I have my own idea for her. Also, I just wanted to say for the recording, I cannot use that ability because I have not spoken to these gunmen, which we clarified that in text channel. So yes, unable to see what they were doing. Now that, hell is breaking loose, if Beatrice is running for Nathaniel, first I want to know, is there anyone caught in the crossfire? It seems like that is immediately in need of help.
Several. You have a firearm exchange with people who came for a target, a group of people. And then you have people who were inebriated, high out of their mind, dealing with any number of illegal substances as well as alcohol, who, are unfortunately armed and are willing to return fire even if they don't hit what they think they're aiming at.
Then Cecilia will try to get those who either have already been hit, like one person or two, like whoever is closest, get them to safety. Just help them. It's just a natural instinct of hers. She's not totally dead inside yet that she wouldn't try to help, knowing that she can take a bullet way better than anyone else.
Okay. And Aaron?
Yes, immediately as shooting is going I would turn around and try to, like, she goes on the instinct of, like, try to kind of get down a bit. Can I see who was shooting who? Like, who started shooting?
Yeah, that
died?
table that you were looking at, the land pyres from, Swan Porter are firing at the waitstaff. People dressed in black like the waitstaff actually are.
Also, the land pyres started the shooting.
As far as you can tell, yes.
Okay. First, I would get some room between me, Tyler, and the shooting, because she has already broken enough people. So Erin is trying to go for let's just bail out of here. Because does this seem anything like a kindred conflict or just like gang shooting?
From the fact that there's just gunfire, it's hard to tell from what there's not enough information to decide one way or the other what exactly is going on. You and Tyler were actually having a quite lovely moment between two souls lost in the storm, and then it was punctuated by, gunfire.
I mean, that's basically the story of their life, though.
Basically. But Erin is just trying and go make room between her and the shooters and getting Tyler along, basically. Just trying to get away with the crowd.
Okay. And Nathaniel, halfway as you were getting up to go meet and speak with Beatrice, the odds of you all being in the same place at the same time is astronomical. But yet here you are. And as you were moving from your table to meet Beatrice, she was moving from her table to yours. And before you get an opportunity to exchange a word, bullets begin flying.
I make my way to whatever is the closest exit, or if they're really far, cover somewhere. So I don't know the layout of where we are exactly, but I'm just getting out of there. Especially if it looks like human business. I want no part of it. At least for now.
Excellent. And Tyler, just as Erin rests her head on your shoulder, hell erupts. Bullets begin to fly. People begin to scream. Prey begins to run willy-nilly into and out of the way of, oncoming projectiles. What are you doing as Erin attempts to get low and get objects between you and the potential path of flight?
Well, it's a very weird situation for one thing, because despite the fact that she's much tougher than he is, his instinct has always been to protect her when something happens, because what's the point of even being around if she's not there anymore? However, what's confusing to him is that she's actually running from the fight. That's not something she does. She's a fox. She dashes in the middle and she cuts people apart. So there's a bit of confusion here, and I feel like we're leaving the rest of the player in trouble here. But if she is going away,
are the others still trying to stick around?
Yeah, if she is going away, he will follow her. I mean, he doesn't really know those people. In fact, he literally doesn't know those people. Tyler doesn't know the name of any of those other people.
You're the monster that left the conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, if his pirate queen is leaving, he's gonna follow her. There's that's all there is to it.
All right, that sounds apropos.
Yeah, because I thought everyone was running out, so I was running out too.
So here is what we are doing mechanically. Beatrice, you, Nathaniel, Erin, and Tyler, would you all be so kind as to roll me a dexterity and athletics check as you all use the furniture, the running people, and the scrum of it all to escape the path of the projectiles?
Okay. So I'm guessing, as usual, DC is as high as possible.
Yes, always.
All right. I don't know. Do having rapid reflex does anything here?
The rapid reflexes adds to your it adds to your athletics in this particular case, meaning you wouldn't be at a penalty. So instead of the unspoken DC would be considered 2 less for you. So
all right.
Again, roll high as you can. Now, Cecilia, moving through the hailstorm of panic and confusion and the natural heightened adrenaline state that everyone is in trying to escape, you wade forward to retrieve one of the fallen or to help them not remain fallen. Cecilia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure and athletics?
Composure athletics. That's a pretty good roll. I can't be upset about that. That's 3 and 2, so 5. Any difficulty or no? It's just a 0 out.
There's always a difficulty. Roll as high as you possibly can.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was a known difficulty, you know. Ooh, that's a bestial, but I have 2 successes. But if it is a failure, then it is a bestial one.
All right, so to explain a little bit, one of the reasons why I keep the difficulty usually out of the way is because for all intents and purposes you are successful at your action. Your die roll mechanically says how successful at your action you are. Okay. Now, so the higher the better. However, with gunfire, you're automatically at a loss unless of course you do have rapid reflexes, which makes the target number technically 2 lower than what you actually have. So in the chaos of these strangely experienced people avoiding gunfire and avoiding the chaos of a night gone sideways, a good portion of them are managing to duck and dodge and dip, and well, you know what they say, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a bullet. Unfortunately, not all of them have that experience. Some of them are, in fact, tourists to the area. Some of them are people who just needed a late night aperitif before heading home. And Cecilia rushes forward into the midst of these people who duck and cover instead of move and zig and zag. And as one lays there, the open, gaping wound of their injury, the scent of blood hitting Cecilia's nose, the sight of panic and adrenalized fear sitting there in their face, perfuming the moment with such a delicious bouquet. The 45 shell casing that lands in front of them because the person that was firing was far too close is shocking, but not quite as shocking as the fact that they have been wounded in a manner that would normally be the end of them. If they were living and breathing, the wound that was through and through from the left lung would have clearly ended them before anyone would be able to affect them. And the person in front of them, the person they are attempting to help and drag away from this, sees it happening. They see the person who is helping them fall. Because you know, a hero is more than a sandwich. A hero is usually a closed casket. And this person doesn't go down. What the absolute... Luckily, it's chaotic, it's dark, and they're not sure. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, that fucking sucks. It hurts. Would you be so kind as to round down the superficial damage of 4 when you get an opportunity?
Round it down by half would be 2.
Yes. And
so, superficial.
Round it down.
Okay.
So, while Cecilia is doing her diligent best to remove at least one victim from this carnage, Beatrice and Nathaniel exercise the best part of valor, discretion. They are retreating from the situation so that they will not be necessary as witnesses. They won't be held by the police for questioning. They won't be victims of whatever this is. And just like in all the old movies where you hear the ricochet of the bullet and then there's a heartfelt moment and the person falls over dead because they didn't hear it, everyone else did. Neither Beatrice nor Nathaniel hear the shells that tattoo their bodies. They feel them and think, in the moment that is the people behind them pushing and shoving, trying to get through them to get out. It is only as Beatrice, who's blushed, realizes that their borrowed clothing is soiling itself with the scent of fatigue. It's only as Nathaniel realizes that he will have to order not only another car, but another suit coat and another shirt, because there's a hole in this one, several to be exact. The fuckers. Would you each, with your one success, be so kind as to round down 4 damage for me, superficial, as the bullets tear through you and leave you a mess? Experience is something that can't be denied. Experience and skill, they work hand in hand, because the greater the natural potential and the greater the experience, the more odds of success there actually are. And in this case, as Erin, instead of doing her usual, instead of being the fire person that runs towards danger, she is thinking of Tyler. She's thinking of, there's been enough carnage in her existence tonight. Tomorrow, maybe they'll take down that high-rise tenement. But right now, outside calls and dipping and ducking and dodging, they make their way to the restrooms instead of out of the front door, because she is aware that stained glass window in the restroom could be gotten through and out. And with walls between them and the gunmen, and strangely, unlike the earlier portion of the evening, Aaron escapes unscathed, following along with his one true love, which is hard to really wrap your mind around. You'd think that over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there would have been another love. That would have been a moment of true, real, honest emotion in his own life. Even with all the darkness that he was privy to, all the things that he's done, you'd figure at least, maybe he would have fallen in love with the job that he had to do. But he didn't. He fell in love with the fox. He fell in love with Erin. And following along with her, he finds himself in the women's restroom. There are several women huddled in the stalls, several women ducking behind the door, one trying to wrap their beaded belt around the door closure at the top to keep out whoever might come through, instead of sparing a word or sparing some semblance of warmth. Each beast to their own. Aaron and Tyler escape out of the bathroom window, breaking the stained glass and escaping into the outside world.
All right. So we're out in the back, like an alley in the back or something?
Yes, you're on the side of the building. You're in what would be a causeway between Speakless and the building next door, which actually acts as its storage. There are several huge coal chutes behind you towards the actual back of the building, but you know that Speakless doesn't actually have a coal chute area anymore. It's actually been renovated into a full-fledged basement and near catacomb level darkness down there. It's used for all manner of people to do all manner of things.
Well, I mean, it does feel, well, yes and no. Tyler doesn't usually get in a fight unless he has the advantage. So the whole idea that if the bullets are starting flying, he's not just going to stay there. And as I mentioned before, in character, I do not know I don't really know any of those kindreds.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even know their names. And Erin is clearly troubled.
Yeah, she is, and part of her that doesn't usually appear because she's usually just around the party is that she's selfish. She's a pilot for a reason.
Exactly.
She thinks of herself first, unless it's with her family. So.
And while they are the protagonists of their own story, you'd have to be a fool to call them heroes.
Yeah. So
I guess we're eating away. Yeah.
She might get curious and try to see what's happening and why the hell is this going on? She's not sticking around.
I mean, it's probably a drug deal gone wrong or some turf war being solved or something like that, which honestly is none of her fucking business. This is
Yeah,
Westphalen. People get shot down
Yeah,
every
she's
fucking
just-
Friday night. It's like, you know.
Yeah, like after getting out the window, she's gonna sing Gaelic and just go like, okay, I'm going home. I'm not going to
Like,
walk
out
around.
of character, I feel bad that the two combat characters are just leaving. But in character,
I am
this is
too.
what they would do. I mean,
Yeah,
so,
like
yeah.
she's selfish. Unless it's her family or a friend or someone loyalty,
Yeah,
she's gonna think of herself and tell it first.
exactly. Same thing here. You know, they're not.
Sadly,
Yeah.
she might even like peek, see what's going on, but otherwise she's gonna just, it's been enough chaos for a night. I'm out.
Well, also technically, I called out to, since I understood the layout, the back door would be closer. So I think I called out to go to the back door. So I guess we're following. I'm following you, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we're all going out the same way, then yeah, we're all there. Can I? Yeah.
Well,
Did you guys go to the bathrooms like we did?
that was my idea because I felt like it was closer, and maybe just wait for a shot to die out before going out by the front door or something like that. So that was my idea to begin with, but I don't know about Cecilia, what's happening, and I don't know if Nathaniel following me. And we're way behind you, that's for sure. We're a few meters for you, Aaron, and feet for the other people.
Oh, okay.
Behind you guys, because we were in the middle of the room. Did we? Sorry, I didn't understand if we got damaged.
Yes.
How much?
For superficial.
Divided by 2, right?
Yes.
And then round down.
Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so don't need to round.
Well, you know what I mean, yeah. To clarify, nobody, is Cecilia is helping that person and does get hit. Is she able to get out helping this person?
Very much so. It's one of those strange coincidences. And by being strange is any other time, the story would have been brave patron attempts to rescue victim of nightclub shooting. The family of Cecilia Braun gathers to remind everyone to not be a hero in the situations, to find a safe place to. And the story would go on and regale everyone about how Cecilia always cared about those others less unfortunate than herself, and so forth and so on. But the fact that Cecilia is already dead, the fact
That her family's already dead.
that Cecilia has existed in this state long enough to realize that pain don't hurt. It's only a temporary thing. It's the last of your frail humanity leaving from you every time that you are injured in a mortal way, because you are no longer mortal. You are something considerably more, something considerably hardier. And even as the wounding to the lungs and peppered by the spray and what have you, all of that little incidental damage, all of those things that if you were human would make sure that you be a news headline, don't stop you. You're able to keep moving. And even as the adrenaline in the person that you're assisting keeps them cognizant, or as cognizant as they ever would be in a situation like this, it is a small bit of grace that you make your way outside with the person. There's still people fleeing, there's still gunshots going off inside, and you know that eventually either the initiator of the gunfight or the victim of the gunfight who survived will be making their way free of the building. So being in front and not covered by a car or out of the way is advertising for more trouble.
Well, having gotten out of the building then, first thing, is this person that I've helped injured already?
Yes.
Okay. Where have they been hitting?
Leg, stomach, shoulder.
Oh, they've got multiple. Okay. Cecilia does not have medical knowledge whatsoever. That's her brother's thing. That's her ghoul's thing. Isaiah is not here. She left him at Elysium to hang out and then go home whenever he feels like it. He would not get here in time to help. She will just be like, apply pressure, and do me one more thing. Forget. Because she knows she's been hit, and this person probably saw she's been hit, so she's going to wipe the last 20 seconds, like that run from inside to outside, that moment where she was shot. Just a quick forget sort of dominate move.
That's perfectly in line with the stress. However,
there's gaps in the memory,
Perfectly in line with the stress. However, and this is one of the many things that doesn't get explored enough with dominate. You have to be in a calmer situation. The person's adrenaline is up. They're fighting for their life. They're bleeding.
Oh, I see.
So would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll you? Are you using cloud memory? Are you using mesmerize? What aspect are you using?
Cloud memory. She just has 1 point.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma plus dominate?
All right. Un momento. That's gonna be 5 dice. Oh, it's a messy. It's a spicy meatball.
Oh, at least it's probably going to work.
One way or the other.
There is...
Messy team.
There is a embarrassment of riches in regards to how strung out the person is with the adrenaline keeping their blood pumping. There is an embarrassment of riches how easily moldable their mind is. There is a expected resistance. That's the expectation. Every mind has a certain lock, and while you could have a knock key for it, or you can have a skeleton key for most people of a certain type, there's always that resistance. There's always that initial push from the mind rebelling against some other outside force. There are roughly anywhere from 100 to 1,000 neurons firing in everyone's mind every second, and each one of those neurons could become a thought, or any number of those neurons firing, working together, could become a thought. So there are countless never-ending thoughts there, and they act as a small bubble of protection for the average mind. That protection, of course, like all bubbles, can be popped fairly easily by those who know what they're doing. Clumsy children, young child or kindred, mesmerists, and all sorts of other people who have the ability to do so. Cecilia expected resistance, and instead, as she leaned into it, applying a little more pressure than she thought, her beast crawled right out. It snuck out the open doors, like leaving your door just slightly cracked as you're carrying in groceries, and then your cat gets out, or your dog goes chasing the neighbor kids to play with them, or the squirrel across the street that has been watching for the last week. All it needs is a crack. And Cecilia's effort to make sure that there was no fingers pointing in her direction, her beast slipped out the crack and went chasing the squirrel being all of that lovely, delicious scent of blood all over them.
It's a free meal. And no one's gonna even wonder why they lost so much blood. Look how many times they've been shot. Just wow. Perfect opportunity, right?
Snatching herself back from the depths of those warm caramel pools, Cecilia realizes exactly what has transpired. Would you lower your hunger by 1 as you realize the blood covering your mouth is not because someone came along and stabbed you in the back like some anime movie causing you to spit forward your Instead, your beast helped, because there's nothing more moldable than a mind awash in the endorphins of the kiss.
I see. She took 1 flake then. She's at hunger 2 now. She will quickly cover her face again, with the things. So a lot's going on. Did anyone else directly look at her while this was occurring?
That's a good question. In the pell-mell and scramble out of the door and for safety, it's hard to tell. What is easy to tell is that you are in the path of anything and everyone fleeing from that building. You need to get out of sight. You need to get away from here, because at the end of the night, one bullet, it kind of tickles. 2 bullets, it's a little bit more than a tickle. That's kind of a pinch. 3 bullets, and now you're pushing your luck. There's a good chance that if you were riddled again, you may do more than accidentally take a little free sip.
Okay. So Cecilia is going to just apply some pressure. They're probably in a stupor at this point, and then bug out. Just bug out around the side of the building, and where there are as few people as possible until like she can find the nice dark corner and enter obfuscate.
That's the plan. And Kindred, while they don't consider themselves human, while they don't consider themselves kind, much like the old aphorism, man plans, God laughs. Breaking around the corner of the building, you arrive in time to watch as Tyler and Aaron look behind them to see Beatrice and Nathaniel scrambling out, covered in splatter from Vitae being knocked free of them by the projectiles fired in their direction.
I would say probably like so. We're still in the back alley, or we're still in the
causeway between the buildings. Yes, you're in the causeway between the 2 buildings.
Okay, so I guess we would have crawled out again through the way that Aaron created. So I don't know if Nathaniel will be the gentleman and help Beatrice, or Beatrice will have to go out by herself. I don't know.
I mean, they're both over the hole. I guess.
Nathaniel is vengeful. He would have used her as a step stool.
Make his way to the exit, and then you look back to see if you're following though.
Well, I'm following. I'll exit by myself, and then.
I mean, if you need help, that's one thing.
No,
that's fine.
I don't know. If I need to roll, I don't know, but I hope not, because, well, I guess the 2 other currents are still there. I would look at the NOS. Hey, monster guy. I'm glad that everybody's alive. Anybody saw Cecilia?
Well, probably when she comes around the corner.
Technically, no one's alive.
Erin just
she rolls eyes.
Like her with her bloody bag of clothing and.
I mean, Tyler's dad now. He has to correct the dad jokes, right?
yeah, for sure. He now has the right to correct the dad jokes.
So that's probably the moment when Cecilia comes around the corner, like nobody said. She has a little bit of blood probably around her masks. Her masks probably aren't soaked, but she looks like she's been, something happened. She looks a little bit like mortified of herself, like, oh, I tried to be a hero and I just made things way worse. Potentially. Not even in the brief sense. She's not really worried about that. She doesn't think anyone would see it or anyone would believe it. More like, I tried to save this person and I fucking fed from them. So she's like stoopering in down the alleyway towards them, like, what the fuck?
Is she still alive?
As alive as she can be, she's holding her chest like where the bullet was, because she's so young, like she's only a year old, a year and a half really, but so she's like, okay, so that's what being shot feels like.
You get used to it.
And she still breathes, like she still does that habitually, so she's like, because her lung is pierced, so she's like, oh, that's not a good feeling in my lungs.
I guess not.
As Tyler sees her walk around clutching her wound and having that sucking wound sound as she breathes, he just says, it sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Get used to it.
it does.
I mean,
Aaron just deadpans
down.
like, you get used to it. What the hell happened?
well,
Who
during
are you
that time,
people?
yeah, Nathaniel is just looking at his shirt with the holes in it. Just goes, "Oh, Kira's gonna be pissed. There's a hole in my shirt."
You guys are really casual for a gang shooting just
That's
happening right now.
seriously your priorities right now.
You,
That's
you keep
seriously what you're worried about right now.
you keep
I
ruining
mean-
your good
I mean-
stuff. Stop that.
You don't
You
understand.
spoiler.
First of all, this is a $400 shirt. And
God.
So,
Second of,
You're like Job in Arrested Development.
and second of all, Miss, there was a gift on it from somebody. That's why I'm pissed.
I see.
Nathaniel,
She actually softens up to that. Like she just actually like, oh, okay.
so it's be like, Nathaniel, if I didn't owe you, I'd slap you right now. And secondly, we should not be standing here. Let's move. And she's
Yeah.
like kind of like hurrying along, like gesturing kind of clumsily. She's like, oh, how do you
Sure.
walk without breathing? And oh, that's a new sensation.
Good idea.
Just stop breathing, girl. You'll be fine.
Easier said than done.
Let's put some distance between us and this place.
Good idea. You coming along, monster guy and ghost girl?
Aaron.
Nice to meet you. I'm Beatrice.
Sorry, where are my manners? Yeah, I'm Nathaniel, by the way.
Armed.
Tyler
She.
tilts his head to the side and gives Nathaniel a quizzical look. Although it's kind of hard to see what he's thinking if he has the scarf and the glasses and the hat on. Because he mentioned Kira, which is a name he remembers.
Ah, yeah.
And now that Nathaniel has basically been shot and he's just walking around with a bullet hole in his chest, it's obviously he's a kindred too. So, he makes a mental note of that.
That's a good mental note.
And you are? Monster guy?
Name style Black.
Nice to meet you.
So here's the thing.
Oh,
Gotta get going.
Tyler Black.
Aaron is now staring at him, half glaring, half staring. Like, what?
Looks like I have you to thank for getting a friend of mine out of a stinking situation.
Yeah, don't mention it.
Aaron's memory is shit, so she's just like, what? Like Tyler told him.
He
before.
actually never. Well, I guess maybe it would have happened off screen, but we never actually talked about it.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
in any case, even if he had told him, what? Just like arching an eyebrow to him, but just on the curious. But okay.
What are you all prattling about?
I would say we're going out the back alley and getting deeper in ruelle in English, streets behind
Yeah.
all the
Yes,
all
you're in
alley.
Rampart.
Thanks.
Yes, you are in Rampart. It is not the absolute nicest. It is not the absolute best. But it is still damn good. It is a nice area. It is one of the few it's one of the few areas that has always tried, has always put up a good front, has always had a good facade, and it's unfortunate that in this particular evening, on this particular night, that these particular kindred have run afoul of very in particular criminals. Without a shadow of a doubt, knowing where you are, knowing which Baron, as far as Tyler and Aaron are aware, is responsible for this area, keeping what semblance of peace between the kind and the kindred, to keeping what is out there in the night from being exposed. And therein lies the problem. You know that if this isn't quelled, that if you all don't at least have some way to identify the persons necessary for vengeance, that there will be a cleaning of the clocks, there will be a cleaning of house, and that this matter will never reach the news, it will never reach the police, and most of the people here, in one shape, fashion, or form, will have accidents if they begin speaking. And it really is a choice at this point, as you all begin to understand where approximately you are in the literal and what may befall, especially in light of the soon-to-be all over the newspaper firestorm that took out a community unto itself.
Do I still hear shooting inside the...
No, you hear cars, trucks, motorcycles speeding out of the parking lot. You hear them driving. You hear a few cutting through the alleys. You only know that they're cutting through the alleys because the sound of 1600cc engines bouncing off brick walls is something that you don't really usually hear.
Can I send the murder to spread out and each of them follow a car? And then let me know where they park later.
Yes, if you can give me a crow call right now. As you all are walking and talking, and in a semblance of kindred joviality, Nathaniel, Beatrice, and Cecilia, you watch as the red-haired. It's hard to describe Erin as anything more than a corpse being this close to her. The pale skin, the eyes that stare with no moisture in them, but just stare all the same. The gaze that is held a second too long. 3 seconds past psychopathic, well beyond sociopathic. There's not much human. Warm. Yeah, there's not much human or warm about Erin. And as you all are talking, just in the middle of it, she breaks out that call. She breaks out the screech, and the flap of wings begins filling the night. Feathers dropping from above your head and there is no pun intended, but it is definitely, you understand now why crows and all corvids are called murderers when they are in huge numbers, because it is hard to stare into those deathly black eyes and not see a semblance of Erin in them. There's no warmth there, but it seems as if they're analyzing each of you, memorizing details, promising a grudge if you so much as breathe out of line. So what do you guys do, starting alphabetical?
I would like to, when we were getting the distance, walking, getting away from the scene, clearly not a good idea to stay there. Maybe, as you said, police won't show up, but she doesn't know. Beatrice doesn't know that kind of places, so she figured the police would be there, and Cecilia having an idea of getting away is the right thing to do.
It definitely is.
She would get in a nervous talk at some point, like, I'm happy I was wrong. I'm happy that no 3 kindreds died tonight.
You didn't know that.
Cecilia.
That guy.
You what? Who was going to die?
I don't know. That big guy.
Are you on Octavian or something? Or? She actually, you never. I mean, she never told her claim. She doesn't know.
She just didn't talk about it.
Erin is just gonna sigh and go like, "Lass, that's rude." Second, you don't know if no kindred died. No one stopped to check. The shooties there weren't one. Also, what dice? Do I make any dice as somebody to order the crows to follow? spread out. Also, there is like a few thousand crows all around us right now.
No, you don't have to. We're just holding a conversation. Once you called and summoned them as they began coming as you all were walking, as you all are talking, and interspersed with that polite dressing down, there is the call and the screech and the head bob and the clicking of the teeth to mimic the clicking of beaks as Aaron speaks with the murder that is all about you.
Oh, okay, that's new. That's a lot of new things tonight. Just another on the list.
And the crows spread out, and like every 2 or 3, quite a few follow each of the cars. They're dashing out of the scene through the sky, and they disperse.
Does anyone run this place, this turf?
Yeah,
Are the crow gone, or are we still in the midst?
Yeah, they're gone.
They're leaving.
All right, okay. Because Curie Nathaniel
They're
was just stepping away and not saying anything while there was 1,000 crows about, but now that they're gone,
Yeah,
gonna resume the conversation we had before.
Tyler's not overly impressed by the crows because, for one thing, he speaks
he's
fluent
used.
crow. Yeah.
And he's used to them by now, like they're always around.
Yeah, and he knows several of them by name: Morrigan, Egan, Munnan. You know, it's like, yeah, they're like a part of the family. So that's not exactly surprising. She's doing her crowd gimmick. You know, it's like whatever. I have rats. She has crows. You know, who cares?
Yeah, the same thing, but one has wings.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Does anyone answer Cecilia's question of like whose turf this is? Like, do Kindred like run this place?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Aaron says, "I."
This is Chavis. This is the Baron Cinder's turf. Unless I'm
Well,
deeply
shit.
mistaken here. I'm pretty sure it's Baron Cinder's there, right? Nobody?
No, as the Reeve of Chavis.
Yeah. I work here.
It's the blonde Baron and Freedom.
Yes.
Chevy. I forgot.
Or is it Jennifer?
Dawn?
Jennifer? Oh, yeah. Wow, my bad.
Dawn.
Oh, it was Cinder. Cinder is the September.
Nostalgia.
All right, my bad. My bad. So it's different.
I remember who it was,
Baron
but I don't
Jennifer.
remember the
There you
name.
go. Yeah.
Yes.
I was
Little
confused
blondie.
because Sidra was the one showing me my office last time. But yeah, it makes more sense
Yeah.
that way because I'm supposed to work for Jennifer. That is true. So, my bad.
Well, then she might have a big fucking mess to clean up. Especially if you're right, Beatrice. 3 dead?
It's not always right.
You had a vision.
An
You have a
impression,
vision then about this.
an impression, and a feeling.
Tyler's in
It's
the
always
corner mumbling about fucking visions.
Yeah, and then she'll
Yes,
call
Tyler.
Tyler anyway because he wants to speak with Tyler. So
Anything else?
Those guys, the group that were sitting, that were celebrating, that were enjoying the night so much. They were about to kill so many people. They were murderers or soon to be murderers, and even one was about to kill 3 of us.
3 of us, or just 3, you know?
Of us.
No.
I mean, in general, like Kindred.
At some point in the future. Well, none of them looked kindred themselves. I didn't feel it. Didn't seem like they were. They seemed like they were all alive. So, did they work for anyone? Maybe someone might pay them off.
Nobody.
Well, look, this is my... Look, I'm realizing now this is Baron's turf. I probably shouldn't even be here, but curiosity is always getting the best of me. But especially with that in mind, we should... I should get out.
Here's the thing. And there are quite a few, many things. You all were witness to a crime. Now, if you were human, you wouldn't be able to leave the scene of the accident or the scene of the incident without at least giving a police report. As you all are kindred, you all have just been made aware by Beatrice that these people, in some shape, fashion, or form, were predestined to kill at least 3 kindred. Now, 1-on-1, hell, 6-on-1 most times, there is not one singular human without training, experience, expertise, and a huge amount of luck that could end the immortality of a kindred. Yet Beatrice just told you that one individual, one person who was at least middle management in an organized criminal operation, is destined to kill 3 kindred. She didn't say 3 anarchs. She didn't say 3 towerites. She said 3 kindred. And the problem is being what they are. With Tyler's experience with those who could see the potential possibility of the future, well, does that mean 3 actual kindred or 3 kindred entities, i.e. their businesses, their associates, their retainers? Could he strike a blow that would all but end a kindred's continued idea of living?
At the same time, the last time Tyler had somebody give him permission, he was told he'd be shot with a crossbow, but then he was not. So,
well, actually, you were told that you'd be shot in the heart.
Yeah.
That you would lose something that gave you heart. And didn't your Anarch sponsor die in that engagement?
Ah, that's slow.
Yeah. Yep.
Always
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You expect the right hook, you get the left.
So, nobody.
Okay,
Could I roll any like wits or streetwise or something to see from my knowledge of like town, recognize any of the party ones, the land pirates?
Yes, most definitively. They're from Swan Quarter. They're from Oriental. Oriental is about 45 minutes down the road. Swan is like 38. They're all in the same area right there on the Pimlico sign. If you take the back roads, it'll take you about an hour, but you'd be free of any potential cameras or police typically. However, it is in fact a separate municipality. It is in fact a separate area. It is in fact the darker image of what Westphalen would be if it was all on one side of the Pimlico, if it was all on one side of the tower, if it was guided by some hand that remained unseen. They are descendants of pirates, yet they are one of the most affluent areas on this end of North Carolina. They were the home of Blackbeard. They were the home of the heirs of Blackbeard, yet they, per capita, are by far one of the richer areas, and they're not a resort town. They're not a resort area, yet they managed to keep their waterways clear. They managed to keep their people well fed. They managed to have a slew of wealth flowing in and out of the area.
I will keep that information to myself because especially with Cecilia's comment, I understand there's here, and while they did not do anything threatening, this is Anarch business. I'm gonna relay that to Tyler.
Well, you guys can always talk it as crows and rats. Who knows?
Yeah. begins squeaking and crying.
I'm not even sure how to make rat noises, to be honest. Like,
So while Beatrice is like having that conversation, or not Beatrice, while Aaron is having that kind of like checking things out, I just realized something, and I feel like it's like, what if? I mean, they might still kill 3 kindred, but what if it's because they might become one of us? I mean, they might have just been wounded. I've heard that sometimes people have gotten embraced out of means to save their life.
Paolo looks at the group of them, realizes it's him, Aaron, and 3 people. And his reactions, well, sucks to be you guys.
Nathaniel's trying to talk to Tyler right now.
Well, I'll just answer quickly Cecilia's question. Like, it would need somebody to give up blood to those people for them to become a kindred, to become one of us. It's just like a simple act of being shot in a crossfire.
Yes, I'm aware of that. What I'm saying is that. I mean, does anyone have any people around here they really would rather not run into? No. If they're going to end up trying to kill us, they probably have a reason.
I guess SI or Hunters.
Really? Because when I kill people,
Aaron
I
just
really do have a reason.
But like stays quiet. Like, oh, do we have enemies? Aaron is just like snorting the stink line like that.
I mean, she's like, hey, I'm not from here. It's like, do you guys have enemies? I don't have enemies. I'm not from here. I'm gonna...
I mean, while they're having that conversation, Aaron is snorting while holding a bag full of bloody clothing. So
amazing.
You guys make the math. She's not just like pointing out, but she's chuckling.
Well, it's very clear that actually having this happen is a distraction to her. She does seem to be in better spirit. So this allows Tyler to actually notice Nathaniel and see that he's wearing a nice suit, that he has a very defined and almost chiseled-like jawline, and beautiful green eyes, and all that slick-backy hair, and he probably smell like pomegranate or other like fancy herbs and stuff. It's clearly a man that is vain and realize he's beautiful, which, you know, Tyler can appreciate. So he takes 2 big sniff, and he looks at Nathaniel and he says, as Nathaniel's trying to talk to him, obviously, "So what do you want, pretty boy?"
Nathaniel smells like melons and pate. Adding to his beauty.
That's true. He got shot, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm into this now.
You know, the best time to hit someone up is right after a mass shooting. Just a perfect time.
Aaron, the luck is that Aaron is distracted with the 2 fledglings cute. So, do we have enemies? And Aaron's thinking like, where do I start? Which is just watching the fledglings. Not watching Tyler right now.
Nathaniel is answering, well, I was told you were a reasonable man by Kira, who you met in the sewers of all places.
Yeah, I go there sometimes.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak business with you, you know. Not here, obviously, but soon.
Yeah, I think Toots over there. And he looks at Beatrice as he says that. Is telling us we probably should do something about those people. So business might have to wait.
Alright then. Those people and then business.
Right. So what is the plan? Did the crows catch anyone, or?
Send them to follow the cars. And
Yeah,
then
you send
come
them to
back
follow the
tell
car.
her-
So
Which one of you has a car?
Cecilia can phone her ghoul to bring the car around.
That'll take a while.
Tyler travels around in the car,
that's a problem.
so it's probably
So-
parked not that far off. I believe Aaron has a bike as well.
Yeah.
Cecilia has storing leave
Give
and
it to her right now. Yeah.
obfuscate.
Well, could some, I don't know, having second thoughts. Could somebody have died?
You're having second thought. I'm having second thought about this whole vision bullshit right here. Better be sure about this, girl, before we go out and kill people.
I'm not asking to kill people. What were you
That's
saying?
always
Monster Man?
how it fucking ends.
Stop, Monster Man. I haven't done anything bad. I just.
This is still
I resent the use of that term on his behalf.
Thank you.
It's just because he talked about monsters and stuff. That's not because of his look. It's just his introduction.
Yeah. Whatever. Look, are we going? Is this
You're receiving
something?
a pretty much death glare from Aaron right now.
Look, is this an actual threat, Beatrice, or should we just go away and not mess with any of this?
I know you guys. I look at the two Nas. I know how to walk around undetected.
Not only them.
I look at her like curiously. Yeah, sure. Well, if somebody can get in, maybe see if a kind died. And
Well, of course a kind died. How many bullets were fired?
I'm just afraid that maybe someone would be turned by our blood.
I can go back and check under obfuscate.
I would like to have activated obfuscate while they were talking and having had it.
I'm sorry to have offended
Like
you,
before,
Monster Man.
and when she turns,
You know what?
Aaron is no longer there because I'm going to activate Unseen Passage, slip
You know what?
inside the...
Fuck off, skirt.
And I succeed! Still Hunger 0.
Well, fate is already played with Aaron. There is a body for every second that she's thought about shifting into obfuscate, laying somewhere right now in a heap, in a ruined, charred flesh, and things that will never occur to them or happen to them ever after tonight. Shifting into obfuscate. There is a disturbing thought about the idea of going back inside. One of the things that Beatrice realized but didn't quite communicate, there is always rumors and gossip just with anything. And the embrace is one of those things where there's usually some huge process, some grandiose night. There are tales about Toreador making it the best night of their childhood's life before they killed them. But the truth of the matter is, as viciously as Aaron was brought over, as horrendously as several other children she knows were embraced into this night of eternal darkness that is kindred existence, all it requires is the vitae of kindred into the deceased before their soul completely evacuates their body. As she shifts into the invisible spectrum of everyone who gazes upon her, she realizes that standing there with her and Tyler are 3 wounded kindred. 3 kindred who had either blushed or been wounded severely enough to cause vitae to spray. In a moment, in an area where there are people falling over themselves, being hit by stray bullets and falling, many dead. The potentiality of realizing or finding out who may have been embraced or who may have died would be astronomically impossible. You'd see corpses until they rise, and if you stick around to find out when they rise, even Westphalen has a exceptional response time to an active shooter scene, whereas their average time is just about 10 minutes. For active shooters, they're under 4. You guys have already wasted 3.5.
So, okay.
So, police is coming, and going close to the entrance. Can I see from, like, no, without walking, just looking from outside?
The efficiency of the cleaning crew and Speakless demands respect. Most of the glass is already swept into piles. The bodies are laid at the doorway. You see a few still limping and lingering, holding on to bits of their life. Staff members laying on tables or sitting in chairs, holding ice bags, holding bandages, applying pressure. There's a member of the staff who's actually going around making sure that everyone's as comfortable as they possibly can be. Not sure who will completely sanguinate in the next few minutes. The manager is already getting the security team to pull the footage. They are doing everything they can to make sure that the police have all they might need. It literally is the experience of it happening far more often than it should.
I'm gonna turn back and get to them. I'll turn off unseen passage. I'm going to tell them, well, the club is already preparing for the glass. Embraces take a lot more than just a few drops of blood, even if in theory. But some embrace could have happened. But right now, if we stick around, police is gonna find us before we find out.
I agree. And while we're waiting, I would just like to approach Tyler.
And me and him would be good. You guys are full of holes that you should not have survived to if you were human. So,
painfully aware of that.
Well, the holes are gone, but I mean, they're closed though.
Yeah, basically.
If I could just have a little second before, while Aaron was back and forth, I would just approach Tyler and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Tyler, I did not want to push you or be mean to you. It's just that I'm sorry if you're uncomfortable with visions. Sometimes when you get a feeling, a gut impression, bad's gonna happen. I feel like it's bad to not act on it.
He just grunts.
Aaron will arrive at this point,
yes.
Point this out, and she's just gonna kind of chuckle to you. Don't mind it last. Doesn't like anything magic.
You're right, though. We need to get out.
We'll get going.
Alright, so anybody's got something that looks like a plan?
Well, my idea is, sure, no one.
Good luck.
Concern is.
Am I the one that's cutting, or is it?
No.
No. I can't really.
Seeing bleed if they're in like a. Hear me now?
Nope.
Okay.
Discord's being mean.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Hello.
Yeah.
Alright, so while Cecilia's internet reboots, so do we have anything that looks like a plan?
Oh, hello? Sorry, yes, my plan. I apologize. My internet was cutting out because I was moving. Yeah, so my idea is, okay, well, someone could have ran away after being shot, and they're in an adrenaline-fueled state.
I'm waiting for the plan.
I think that's it. He probably caught off again. It happens. What you gonna do?
This come for you.
Bad lag. What you gonna do?
Indeed.
Hello? Oh, I am terribly...
Hi. And you're back.
Hello.
Terribly sorry for all the technical issues.
No problem.
But yes, so they run away, they're hurt, adrenaline pumping, they end up maybe succumbing to their wounds somewhere away from the scene because they don't think to go get help properly because they're just not thinking clearly. All that needs to happen is for one kindred to have a heart seeing someone dying and then embrace them.
Well, I mean,
As a kindness.
That's a higher bar than you actually think, Cecilia.
You consider what happened to us a kindness?
Look, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they'll think it's a kindness, what they're doing.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, this is your backyard, Mr. Black. You have kindred stupid enough to randomly embrace people around here?
Well, I don't know. Do we know about it?
Here's the funny thing is, you'd love to say that would never happen. You'd love to say that kindred are smarter than that. You'd love to believe that damning someone else's soul for all of eternity would not be considered a kindness. That bringing someone into this never-ending night would not be viewed as anything more than a punishment. However, while that may be true for the vast bulk majority of the Orlocks, of the Nosferatu, of the sewer rats, there's 100 million slightly different permutations of a theme when considering all of the many roses, or the outlanders who embraced because you continued fighting when there was no reason and no way that you could win. For all of the Vindru who have embraced beloved ghouls who've given their lives in the line of duty. The answer is most assuredly there is a yes and a yes and a yes. There are some kindred right now so enamored with some piano prodigy or some chess master that they can't bring themselves to allow time to work its magic, to give them the immortality of progeny, to live full lives, to be the selfish entities that they are. They're so enamored, so in love, and the only way they can express their love is by killing that person, killing that being that they love so very much. So yeah, no, not a dumb enough anarch out there, not a dumb enough Towerite out there. No one would ever do that.
Well, no, I get the idea that it happens, but I was just wondering if, would I have an idea?
Specific kindred?
Yeah, point a finger at somebody here.
Yeah, half the kindred that showed up to the ranch believe themselves heroes.
Yeah, fucking idiots.
I mean, hell, even Cecilia thought she was a hero trying to get someone out of there, and look what she did. So.
Yep. Yeah, well, but you can say whatever you want about Tyler, but he knows he's not a hero.
To be fair, Cecilia's not even trying to argue she is. She's just kind of like, look, instinct. I tried to help. Thought I could. Shouldn't have done that.
And arguably, Erin arranged Angel's embrace. She's a selfish bastard, and she admits it.
With this in mind, Cecilia's going to relay this possibility. Having relayed this possibility, she's going to propose that she checks around the area from above. She's going to enter obfuscate, soaring leap, go up to the rooftops and kind of see, did anyone run away from the scene that was hurt? Has anyone found them? Maybe there's a blood trail, a sign of escape, of egress.
Can
Knock yourself out. Listen, knock yourself out.
Would I be
Cecilia.
able? Go ahead.
I roll.
Soaring leap. Go ahead, roll strength plus athletics, and add your potence, and tell me what your result is.
Well, first I gotta roll 1 for activating unseen, so no one sees me parkouring around like an inhuman creature.
Always good.
Would
You may want to soar, leap, land, and hide, because any aggressive action would immediately break that obfuscate. You'd be flickering like a Christmas light in June. You'd be a sight to
Technically,
see.
we're all looking at her. So,
yeah.
that too.
I mean, you know, she'd like move away to like somewhere where she could do it.
Don't look at me! She screams.
Oh, look at that!
Turn around. I can do it while you're
Is
looking.
soaring leap an aggressive action?
You are hurling.
You're landing.
How much does Cecilia weigh?
120 something, 130.
How much
Around
force?
that
How
ballpark.
much force do you think it would take to throw 120 pounds more than 5 feet?
You know, fair enough. I guess that does fall into the realm of violent. All right. Then from darkness, then basically in a place where no one is looking, she will use her soaring leap to get up high, and then when she lands, she will obfuscate. So first, that is strength, which is 2. Potence, I have 2. And athletics, I have 2, so that's 6.
So,
Ignore
why
that.
are we
roll.
looking for someone and being embraced? Is it part of the?
Because Cecilia is convinced that somehow one of the guys got shot is gonna be turning into a vampire and killing people.
Yeah, that's the logic. Is that either that or that one of those random kindred that will, like one of those random kind that got shot, might become a kindred and then die afterward because they think, oh wow, I'm still alive and I'm all healed. They get a stupid idea because their sire is also stupid. You know, stupid people doing stupid things.
I mean, if that's all that's gonna happen, I don't see why we need to get involved.
Masquerade brief.
Yeah, there's that.
That's the main concern, frankly. Otherwise, Cecilia would be like, well, I have absolutely no skin in this game. Goodbye, and just fuck off to the sewers. So,
You know the funny thing about kindred society? It is not what you know. And a lot of times it's not even what you can prove. It's who you can get to support whatever you're saying, whether it's the truth, whether it's the lie, whether it's a mixture of the two. If you have enough support from either the crowd or your superiors, what you say, what they believe is what becomes true. So it's the perception of that support base that determines what the truth might be. So a crime that one kindred might easily get away with could have another, well, bronzed for the ages. A small slight against one kindred could have another excommunicated from kindred society, while laughed off as a joke by another. Perception becomes reality. And it's also the same case when it comes to criminal enterprises. Long story far shorter, and the details obfuscated due to a blur of time. Searching the area, staying hidden, you all make your way as far away from Speakless as possible. However, there's no far enough away to not be held responsible for what happened by the Baron, by their warlord, by their reeve. It's very easy to get pulled into a matter when the security tape is given to the police, the bribes are properly paid, and things are sent on their way. You all were there. You all were clearly involved. This was clearly a hit because, well, XYZ and so forth and so on has said so. The frame job is in. Aaron has, through their conversation, their ongoing conversations with the murdered crows flying to and fro, back and forth, ferrying information. This was clearly a hit. This was clearly a purposeful thing. This was clearly one kindred using the thorn in their sides as a way to get rid of another problem. This was an attempt to sully and disrespect the Baron of Chavis. This was an attempt to cause as much collateral damage and attract attention to the area by the concerned parties that hunt.
Do I have the contact of the Baroness?
Jennifer,
Heather probably does. Did we see the people that came in and just started shooting? Like, did we get a good look at them?
He was the pirate who were in the background.
You and Aaron you were in a conversation. Beatrice and Cecilia actually caught them in the preparation for what they were going to do. They actually have full-fledged detail, and Nathaniel was taking in the sight of the club and keeping an eye on the strange woman at the bar, i.e. Aaron. So he didn't get the detail of the people that were the inciting incident. Cecilia and Beatrice did.
Oh, so the crew in the background were who got shot.
Yeah, they're the ones who got opened up on. They returned fire, and that's when everything went to shit.
Gotcha.
And nobody. I rolled 3 successes on athletics, so on.
You land as gracefully as you are able. You could do it again. The judges will probably give you a higher score. But the truth of the matter is, you're not really concerned with how it looked, but just simply the fact that you were trying to get to the high ground to have a further vantage point. And you do.
And then from there, obfuscating now into unseen, I succeed. So still hunger 2, thank God. Now, from the rooftops, I want to survey people running from the scene, people that are just booking it for their lives. Obviously, we have the cars being tailed by the crows. But what about people on foot? Those are the people that are going to slip through the cracks. That's the thing that Celia's worried about. Is going to be a problem if a kindred gets involved.
Oh, kindred are already involved. The army of WPD that are closing in on the area makes the landing at Normandy seem like a kid's birthday party. The
SWAT team I imagine is out.
The sheer number of vehicular engines of destruction, i.e. the long arm of the law, closing in on the area is literally enough to have your dead blood turn even colder. It freezes in your vein. Being a denizen of the lateral, such events rarely happen. The literal, they're used to it. They're accustomed to mass forces of police showing up. However, as a denizen of the lateral, as someone who has a very light police presence and is easy to dodge and avoid and not have to worry about all that much, this is the coming Armageddon. There are enough lights closing in on the area that they take up the full view. There's cars over there, there's cars over there, police cars over there, and they're running with just lights, no sound, no sirens wailing into the night. They are letting the right number of bad guys know they are on their way. And for those dumb enough to not pay attention to the night sky, the red and blue echoing and mirroring off the clouds and the buildings around them, well, they're about to have the swift boot of justice stomp out all of their ignorance.
While everyone is watching this, Aaron is going to kind of whisper to Tyler to try and contact the Baron of Chavit. This was an actual ordered hit by someone set this up. I know the crew that they were shooting at, and I know where they are. I just don't know who did it or why. I ask her to report this right away.
Nathaniel, would you be so kind as to roll your...
Roll?
Yes.
Roll what?
Would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus politics? And anyone who has a streetwise at 2, would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus streetwise?
3 successes.
She is whispering this, by the way.
Yeah, alright. I do have wits 2. Streetwise 2, sorry. A lot more than wits 2, so I guess I'll roll.
So I saw them whispering, and I forgot to rebring my lens. So I'll enhance my senses. So.
A big 2 successes on the wits plus 3 twice thing. To be fair, I am fairly confident you're going to tell me that we should be handling this ourselves and not be calling mommy.
No, just the opposite.
Oh, really? All right.
This was a political maneuver. As Cecilia watches the sheer number of police arriving, the WPD has a great response time for gunfire, for live shootings, for bomb threats, for fires. But standard protocol is sirens, lights, and sound. The fact that there is an Armageddon level number of police closing in on the area, all with sound, all coming stealthily towards an active shooting, having given all potential witnesses time to escape. It's the cover for something. It is clearly a play in motion. And Nathaniel, being a politically savvy individual, this is exactly the sort of false flag campaign one would utilize to bring down an institution. There's a nuisance complaint that anyone can file if a club or a business receives enough visits or visible, viable visits from law enforcement. You become a public nuisance. You're able to move in on the territory and sue them into solvency. You can sue them into the poorhouse. They won't be able to pay their bills. They can't keep the lights on. They can't stay open if they receive enough visits from the police department.
To clarify, they're coming lights on, but sound off, and the protocol is lights and sound on, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So already the information. This is.
I rolled 4 successes.
This is a classic. This is a classic move to get rid of the place. I think. Anything I do, like make everybody hate the Speakless because the cops keep coming or something like that, and make a complaint, and then you have it shut down. Something's definitely up.
Do we know who owns Speakless?
No.
I mean, it's a fixture in Travis. Oh. Whoever does fairly
will be. By the way, I don't know what that gives me. Gotcha.
A question. From above, to clarify, I want to say I'll be relaying, and it's to see that we'll relay any information to Nathaniel from her phone. Because they're literally a building and a few floors apart. Like, there's no way they can talk to each other otherwise. Are the police themselves, are the officers acting strangely, like, once they leave their cars? Like, Cecilia's gonna, like, from the roofs, like, go back to around the bar. Like, what are they doing? Are they acting strangely?
Well,
there's a coldness that falls over one when exposed to a certain amount of consistent violence, a certain amount of consistent torment. Because that's literally what it is. What it's like looking on the results of violence and crime. It is a torment. It is a mental anguish that you don't even realize, because, like all things, humans can adapt to any situation. And torment, due to the responsibilities of one's job, is one of many things that humans adapt to. Weird. Hard to say. You've never been a police officer. So what seems to you like a certain callousness, a certain lethargy, could in fact be very accurate and average for them. What to Cecilia seems like a disregard could be the last ditch effort to save their own vestiges of mental peace.
Right. This is not happening kind of vibe. Like, I'm like the body tricking itself, think it's not actually in that much danger. It's just business as usual. And is anyone being arrested?
There's no one to be arrested. Everyone seemed to have escaped. All of the shooters, all of the dangerous, callous individuals who, while defending themselves, returned fire aimlessly into the crowd. All of the shooters who, in pursuit of their own safety, were willing to unleash half the stock of your average shooting range into the crowd.
And from the architecture of the Speakless, is that obviously we saw Nathaniel and company come out of Beatrice come out of the window to the bathroom. So we know they didn't go out that way because we would have seen them. What about another kind of back entrance? Obviously a window's not really a proper entrance or exit, but you know.
There are, as someone who's not been to the Speakless, who hasn't spent time here, knowing it's a bit happening upon it.
Yeah.
The reality is, maybe, possibly. There, clearly.
Just wasn't sure if there were any obvious ones that were like just the architecture makes it obvious that there is one or something.
No, just a building, just a club. It's a local institution. Like, knowing what little bit you did of the area and of Speakless, it's the sort of place that has been around forever and somehow has managed to survive to modern times, to modern day.
Right.
It has managed to get past the drug wars in the middle of the street that were taking place all throughout Westphalen. It has managed to survive the consistent no-knock assaults by the police. It has managed to survive purportedly since Prohibition.
Right. There's definitely there's gotta be some ways in and out then. Even just like normal doors. I'm not even talking secret ones, like just other ways of getting out besides the front and windows. So I want to go back to street level then, still under obfuscate, around the back area, you know, where the police concentration is less. And just
remember that Armageddon level wave of police officers?
True.
Less is not less.
Fair. Then okay, so because there's a flood of lights, that means the streets are like the back alleys, like because it's Armageddon levels of police. The actual like floor of these alleys is probably lit up pretty brightly, right? Are there any obvious signs of like blood? Something that like going in a direction, like a trail, something that could be followed? Because if I have no doubt in my mind that shooters on both sides were injured, and if no one's being arrested, either they're dead, which I doubt all of them are dead, or they got hit, ran, and are now like bleeding.
Meanwhile, I did. So, did any cars, the people who aren't the pirates, did any of the crows get back to me? Anything? Okay, gotcha.
And with the streets lit up as they are, with the alley awash in red and blue, turning the actual radiant light into this violet haze of sorts. Without ratting out on your coder members, there's no path of blood. The fact that none of the murder of crows has returned to Aaron speaks a lot. That means that none of the vehicles that left from the lot were close enough that the crows could have returned.
Everyone went far. I mean, that's natural. If I was in the shooting, I wouldn't even really think about where I'm driving necessarily. I'd just drive, or I'd drive to the nearest hospital if I was hurt. And I don't know if there's one close. So that kind of tracks. But it also is very convenient for anyone that wanted to get into a getaway vehicle and fuck off. Cecilia will call back in to Nathaniel and just be, got nothing. There's an entire legion of cops here and they've got nothing. No one's being arrested. Dead end.
Legion of cop? I'm not hearing anything, Cecilia.
Hearing? Look at the sky. They're all going silent, but they've got their sirens on. Or well, their lights out, she means. They've got their lights on.
Yeah, I'll drop the phone for a second. People look at the sky. Cecilia says there's a legion of cops coming our way.
There are
sirens.
There are, and as someone who has dealt with the police from a distance, who has used intermediaries, this is far too many police officers on one side of the river.
Yeah.
This is far and away too many police officers. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. With just a simple count of what number of officers that should be on shift. It's like what happens when they're planning parades. It's like what happens when they are planning some art installation. It's what happens when the governor has a planned visit.
Like that one thing that happened in New York City recently. I think like 3 officers died, and there were literally like thousands of officers out in force. It was ridiculous. You can look it up. What happened? It's actually a crazy amount of cops in one place.
I believe you.
Alright, that's becoming a huge problem.
Is he saying anything back over the phone?
Yeah, I'll take back the phone. Do you see a path for us
The
to
place
leave?
was pretty much cleaned when I looked into it.
They're mostly around the bar. We should be okay to leave. I mean, as okay as we can be. Just
We kind of got away from the place.
We are away from the place.
Standing nearby.
you're basically saying she's around the bar now. She's around, like, looking to it from a distance from a rooftop, and she's like, "Isn't this way too many?" Like,
It is
never
way too many. What's
And you guys said, I heard, like, she imagined over the phone, like someone said, like, "Hey, did a kindred call this in, or was that not made clear?" I need to.
If this many
nobody.
cops are here,
Cecilia, get out there. Nobody. Can I use my influence to call, see if there's like a government sanction raid or something going on? Did we lose nobody?
No. Friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. It's late night.
It is late night though. Yeah.
Friend of a friend of a friend. Just checking out, maybe following up for a potential client, giving what excuses you might. Yeah, roll charisma and either politics or persuasion.
I mean, if persuasion. Okay, I was gonna say the only better dice pool I have is charisma or persuasion. So okay, sure, no problem.
You'll do okay.
It should be fine.
famous buzzword.
It should be fine. Okay. 5 success. That should be enough.
Ooh, nice.
You only missed it by 6. There is an immediate gut response when you receive a call at an hour where you didn't expect. Every parent dreads those calls at 2 in the morning, at midnight, or 1 in the morning when you get a loved one calling, not texting, calling. So, calls being relayed through Nathaniel's various connections, clients leading to their lawyers, leading to their friends, leading to their associates, leading to their family members. It takes far less time than it should, and yet Nathaniel reaches out to one of the watch commanders. He's connected to their direct phone, and you can hear the cigarette smoke even over the line at this hour of the evening. Mr. King, what do I owe this pleasure for?
Hi, sir. I am currently riding near the Chavis, and I'm seeing a lot of lights, and I was wondering what's going on.
What are you doing over there? There's a sting operation in effect. God damn it. The word was supposed to go out that no one notable is supposed to be over there. Why do you think the fucking ward boss is at a meeting with the mayor right now? Mr. King, you need to leave the area right now. There's been an active shooter that we had eyes on. We knew something was going to happen. And you know what? Just get out of the area right now. Here, I'll give you the Desk Sergeant Summerland. You need to use his badge number if anybody asks, and leave the area now. Get out of there.
All right.
We're conducting stop and frisk. We're conducting stop and searches. Get out of the area now. Now.
All right, thanks.
Well, as Styler sees Nathaniel pick up his phone and call, I suppose I'm going to do what Aaron asked me to do quite a while ago now. And getting late, I'm a bit sleepy. Sorry. And I'll call the Baron. I'm not quite sure how to say her last name, so I guess I'll just call her Jennifer.
Nkruka.
So I'll call Baron Nkruka, and let's see what she says.
Just for the record, in the meantime, because Nathaniel said to come back, Cecilia's doing that. Go to the call. Do you think?
Now, child, you know you need to get a better number than this. What are you calling me for this hour?
I'm sorry, boss. We're at Speakless, and some serious shit is going down right now.
What you mean serious shit? They got them goddamn cumbia dancers back in there.
Well, there was a shootout.
Oh, that's right. It is Friday, isn't it? Which one of the local gangs is it? We'll go ahead and talk to them. Boba will put in a good word for us to smooth things over.
I'm not sure if I know their name, but they look like land pirates.
Oh, hell no. Them idiots that have no business in Speakless. They need to stay down there in Oriental where all the stupid motherfuckers decide to hang out. Is that boss the Swede there? You got him in custody, don't you?
I know. That was, I don't know if any of them survived, and there's a lot of the fuzz right now. It's a bit, like it's a disproportionate response. Something's off.
Well, then get to the bottom of it. Make sure that we ain't involved, and I will reach out to the Prince of Oriental. He technically has swan quotas as well, but those are his boys and girls that he sends for stupid shit like this. Everybody he think he's so damn slick, having a criminal empires, his enforcers, because after all, it's just humans being humans. I will make calls and you will find out what the fuck they were doing in our neck of the woods.
While the call is, I will whisper in Tyler's other ear, the one not on the phone, that this seems like someone ordered them take the hit. This seems staged.
I'm not sure nobody was saying that the guys that were hit are from Chinatown or the guy that hit them are from Chinatown.
I'm saying that land pirates were hired to take a hit from we didn't catch. That's what I'm telling you to fill in for her. They're not the responsibles. They were ordered to take the hit.
They were ordered to be, kind of confused. They were ordered to be attacked there?
No, do something stupid like that. You know what? That's it. I'll send a car for you. How close to Speechless are you right now?
Unless I'm mistaken, we're like right beside it, right? Like pretty close.
No, we moved away.
We moved away.
We moved away, but we're still like it's on line of sight.
Yeah, we could run down the road and be there, but you know,
we still got eye contact on it.
Well, hell, shit. You know what? Hopefully, disproportionate or not, this does not blow back on us. We will put our heads down and let this pass. Hopefully, we need to get to the bottom of it. However, just in case. So therefore, I need you all. And who was that? Your lovely sweeper in your ear that I heard?
Yeah, Red's right here.
We're gonna need to get you and the other Reeves together, because this is an outside threat. Technically, that is the warlord. This is no reason for us to respond just yet, but we need to get to the bottom. And as I will reach out to the Prince of Oriental, and you all meet at Mo or Linda. We can go ahead and discuss things. I'm not gonna bother to arrange the drive. You all can get there on your own. I got calls to make. I will see you all very, very soon.
All right. Well, yes, ma'am.
Are we finishing our calls more or less at the same time, or who's finishing his call first?
Yeah, you guys are roughly finishing at the same time.
Okay. Our group, we need to get the fuck out of here. This is a sting operation. The place is going to be swarming with cops. It really is, and they're going to stop everybody. I have the sergeant in charge, badge number, and also might be able to get us out of here.
Seal probably.
I assume, Mr. Black, you'll remember this when we have our talk a little later, right?
Well, I should probably the right number.
All right. I have my card actually. I'll give my business card to Tyler.
Damn, fancy.
Send me.
Mine's white. Nice lettering. He says as he looks at the card.
Oddly, I believe he's honest about that. So let's get moving, and if you can send me like a text so I know I have your number while we're doing that.
Well, he just gives you his number, I guess.
I'll put it in my phone then while we walk.
So the question remains, and this is the only question of the evening at this point. You all could fairly easily escape the cordon of police, the ring of attack, because that's exactly what it is. It is a sweep being done to break heads and explain to people why they don't FWP. It is a military action. It's carried out with precision and violence. The officers on the border who are manning the ramparts for this particular mission have a purpose in mind, letting their presence be known, riling up the locals, and perhaps, potentially, getting all necessary information to conduct an actual investigation later. As you all escape the cordon and make your way out, having been stopped once just to verify that Nathaniel in fact does have the connections that he does, would you all go on your own ways to handle this H in your own particular manner, or would you all try to, with less than 4.5, maybe 5 hours of the night left, remain in each other's company?
I mean, I think it's very clear that those guys are not an arch, because I've never met them before.
Oh, you actually
Plus,
know.
they were mentioning constantly that, like, they needed... Like, Cecilia was also...
Yeah, she said, like, oh, I did not know this was...
We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, so... That's why Aaron was being so secretive. Like, you noticed that they're not from this side of
Yeah, on top of that, I've been more or less told that I needed to get back to the salon. Yeah. So I would think that, yes, we my office.
Seems like the Camrys and Anarchs should split up here to do their business.
It feels like a natural splitting point to me.
Yeah.
And besides, I don't really want to have to explain to my boss why I'm bringing 3 Camarilla member to the Chav's headquarters. Like, I'd rather avoid that discussion.
This is starting to look more and more like Anarch business too, so...
Yeah. Cecilia would definitely. Wherever Nathaniel's going, Cecilia's staying with him. She's glued to him. It's like, you're the one who knows what we should be doing right now.
Kira's going to kill Cecilia. We can figure that out. But but before that happens, before that moment comes, as the band of kindred for this particular evening, who have found themselves in the only sanctuary that was capable to hold them, a sanctuary that was bent towards the raucous enjoyment of life at any and all means, as death erupted around them and the night waned as it does, they part company. Tyler and Aaron heading to Mora Linda to have a few conversations. Nathaniel, Beatrice, and Cecilia finding their way back across the Pamlico, back
Why do I
towards
feel
the
we're
Sect.
going to get chewed up?
And as the temporary coterie of happenstance separates and moves about the remainder of their night before the sun breaks the horizon line, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely session, and I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Fun. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I got to meet Tyler.